What's up, everybody? What's going on, Angela? Sorry I'm late. I had some issues I had to take care of. How's everybody doing? Who's here already? We got some people here. I have not yet settled in because I just had to totally redo. Oh my goodness, so many things.
Are you still working on it?
I think I'm okay. I hope everybody's good. Let me see. We've got Delicate. We've got Bobo. We've got Guilty Angel. We have. Let me see. What is this? Scientist. I'm terrible at this.
Scientist.
Scientist. Guilty Angel.
And yes, they asked. So has everyone here seen the latest? Lively submitted a treble damages motion that includes a declaration from the witness to one of Sarawitz's comments last August. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We're covering that tonight.
Yeah, we're covering that.
Yeah.
We're all over
I saw
that
10 minutes before we went on, and I read it real quick. So you guys are going to hear it, too. Also, thanks, Scientist is informing us all. Wayfair want more time to produce the signal chats. Of course they fucking do. Everything's about delay for them. I wonder whether there's anything for the judge to be able to do, you know? Like if they deny an extension, are they just late? What if they need more time, you know? I don't know how that works.
What if they need more time?
Yes. Wayfair apparently wants more time to produce the signal chats.
Yes.
But they've been given so many delays.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully, eventually.
Extensions.
Eventually, of course. Eventually, they're gonna get told that time's up. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm almost on my feet again. I have to.
What are you doing?
It's just this stuff that I didn't save that was supposed to save, and so I like 3 minutes before the live, I had to completely rebuild our shoot.
Oh.
And I'm still not. It's not like.
Well, it looks good.
Well, okay. I'm glad.
You did a good job. Should I start reading this stuff?
Yeah. So wait. So first of all, a couple things.
Okay.
How was your weekend? Let's just get settled in a little bit. I like to get settled in before we just jump in. We're going to jump in a couple minutes, though. It's only going to take a couple minutes. I just need to get oriented and feel good so that when you're dishing information to me, I'm actually getting it. How was your weekend?
It was good. Yeah.
We did see a couple movies.
Yeah. We had a really nice, relaxing weekend. The weather here has been fucking gorgeous, and I've really enjoyed it.
Without getting into the deep weeds with any of these, you want to just dole out our tiny pineapples really quick on these?
Yes. Okay. So Dale showed me a movie that he used to like, and he wasn't sure if it was going to...
That's an interesting way to put it.
Well, you weren't sure how it was going to hold up.
Yeah.
So you watched it when you were much younger.
It was all about how it was going to hold up, and it came to mind because the weekend before, we watched State of Grace, which was this 1990 kind of mobster movie with Sean Penn. That was super badass. Like really it's basically a classic.
Yeah, that was I gave it 5 tiny pineapples.
5 tiny fucking pineapples out of 5 possible tiny pineapples.
I was entertained the whole time.
So this one is the Chris Walken star called King of New York. Mm-hmm. And I loved it as a kid. You know, Lawrence.
It also came out in 1990.
It also came out in 1990. So this is obviously a time
so you
for
weren't
these
a
kinds
kid.
of things. Well, I mean, I was 20. And look, Lawrence Fishburne, he's a strong supporting in this one, and he's fucking awesome in it. And he really is the most redeeming thing in the movie for me, really. And I mean, Chris Walken is doing all his facial stuff that you expect. And
Chris Walken is he's gorgeous in this movie.
He really is.
And the director loves a close-up the whole time. We're looking at close-ups.
A lot of unnecessary.
So the whole time
close-ups.
you're like, wow, Christopher Walken really has an incredible face the whole time. Anyway, you're like, what is happening?
Anyway, I was just bringing.
But Lawrence Fishburne, it's great that you're mentioning him because it was the first time I'd ever seen him in a movie act really loose.
Yeah.
He's usually playing such a serious,
stiff Morbius type character.
Yeah, super serious guy.
Yeah.
And this was the first time where he's actually playing a character where he gets to have fun with it. However, the movie, I gave it 2 tiny pineapples.
You gave it 2 tiny pineapples.
Yes.
By the way, I hadn't finished yet because I wanted to say that the Lawrence Fishburne character and performance was sort of it's weird how these movies had certain parallels. It was kind of like the Gary Oldman character that we drooled over and in State of Grace. He was brilliant in it, and I would say that Lawrence Fishburne was brilliant in his role. You gave it 2 tiny pineapples. I was a little more generous. I gave it 2.5 tiny pineapples, and I think probably because of Lawrence Fishburne.
Why are you saying his name like that?
Fishburne?
Fishburne.
It is Byrne. Doesn't matter, does it? We
Fishborn.
know who we're talking about, don't we?
It's born of the fish.
We know who we're talking about. I'm a Canadian. I'm allowed to
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
mispronounce things.
I like the concept of the movie. King of New York is about like, you know, it's sort of like I guess they were trying to reverse the trope of, you know, it was like the gang leader who's really a philanthropist.
Yeah.
And he's misunderstood and he does good for the city.
Yeah.
Versus like the maniacal murderous cops.
Yes.
Who are just like criming constantly.
Yeah.
And he's like
David Caruso and
yeah.
Yeah.
But it
the
just
cast is crazy for this one,
absurd.
by the way. The cast is absolutely crazy. David Caruso is in it, which is like, he has the same hair that he probably still has to this day. He's like Kevin Connolly, I think. Kevin Connolly, if you don't know, he when we were hanging out and his hair hasn't changed, he got a haircut every week. Every week.
Just to keep it.
Every week he got his fucking haircut.
And he never looked any different.
He has never had a hair out of place since
he never just
since 1990 fucking 4.
He never just like took a break and grew it out. That's funny.
So anyway, that's that one, and then we watched another one. This one with Paul Rudd and Tom. What's his name?
Tim Robinson.
Tim Robinson.
We watched Friendship,
which
is relatively new.
How many tiny pineapples?
I gave it like I struggled with. I didn't want to give it a full 4.
Okay.
3.5.
You gave it 3.5.
I was entertained.
Yes.
I thought it was very fun.
I couldn't stop watching this 3.5 tiny pineapple experience. I couldn't stop watching it. I couldn't. It was.
Why would you stop watching it? We were watching it.
Well, because I couldn't keep. Because I could easily get distracted. I could easily get my mind could drift off or whatever. What I'm saying is I was engaged for the whole movie, as strange as it was. And it is like a strange one. I don't know if it knows what it was or what it is. And
it's a super weird one.
It's fucking weird, but it's also kind of one you kind of have to see if you, first of all, if you like strange oddities in comedy or whatever. If you like
Chris Robinson.
Who I do like.
Yeah.
His name, I don't know why it escapes me, but it does.
Because typical.
The guy makes me laugh. He's outrageous. It's a total like a Bobcat-y thing that he's got going on.
He never fucking misses. And Paul Rudd was playing his like anchorman character.
Yeah.
It's just so strange. The whole thing was super weird.
3.5 for you. So that's a recommend see, is it?
It is, yeah.
I recommend see it.
It's a super fun comedy. In fact, I want to talk about my favorite parts, but it would be total spoilers if I did. So I can't. You guys are gonna have to watch it and then come back and talk to me.
All right, that's our Tiny Pineapples opening fucking after the weekend stuff. We're watching a bunch of stuff though, and but you know we'll get to that stuff later in the week. Those are the 2 features over the weekend that we saw, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to see this week. It was, it was underwhelming compared to the week before.
So King of New York didn't hold up to you.
Absolutely fucking not. Would not recommend see it. It's a 2.5 for me. But if you're a Chris Walken fan, if you're a Lawrence Fishburne fan, if you're a David Caruso fan, then I would definitely check it out. Because
there's also a bunch of
there's a lot worth seeing.
There's also a bunch of other actors that are total babies in it, like Giancarlo Esposito. Is that his name?
Yeah.
He's in it.
He's a fucking baby.
So
he's in both of them actually. He's in State of Grace also.
Who's the guy that was in Romeo and Juliet? His name Harold Perrineau. He's like an infant.
Yeah,
in
I can't believe you recognized him. I could not recognize that guy.
There's a bunch of other people who were just like, you're like, wow, man, you guys have been really working for a really long time before you got your good roles, you know. I gave it 2 stars just because it felt so much longer.
Okay, we've abandoned it. We're not doing it anymore.
I mean, sorry, 2 tiny pineapples with stars on top.
You don't know what a tiny pineapple
because
is.
it was just so much longer than its runtime.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that was like the longest fucking movie I've ever seen.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
It felt like 2.5 hours, and it was actually under
close-ups.
It was like 100 minutes or something,
yeah.
And it felt like $1.40. All right, that's it for those. Check out what you will. Watch at your own peril. All right, let's get into this thing. So this just kind of happened, did it? Or we just found out about it?
Yeah. Well, it was filed today, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, today, yeah, and this week is supposed to be a busy week because there's a lot of deadlines.
Well, it's already starting. So, and I still want to actually cover this Perez Hilton bit and all that stuff. So let's get to the meat of the matter is...
Okay, so I think that if you guys have been following this case, then you know that Blake Lively, when she filed her initial complaint against Justin Baldoni, no, maybe it was in the amended complaint. I can't remember. Anyway, because it was the amended complaint because he filed a lawsuit against her, and you can't do that. So like, there's a law in California where Wayfarer is based, where Justin Baldoni lives, where Blake Lively, I guess she doesn't live.
She's not no, she doesn't.
But the company lives there, and there's a law in California that she is citing in this federal court about how if somebody makes a claim about sexual harassment in the workplace, it is protected, and you cannot file a retaliatory lawsuit.
It's not just sexual harassment. Just by the way, there are other, including
assault,
discrimination, for example.
Oh yeah.
There are other protections out there for people who are making very sensitive claims. When you think about it long enough, it makes perfect sense. It's just like, hey, because people need to know. First of all, you're usually complaining against something or someone of power, right? So that's typically the situation. And so the fear of retaliation is not only real, but it's foreboding, because you don't know what you're going to run into in terms of opposition. They could throw every lawyer in Hollywood at you at once, and it's pretty overwhelming and financially devastating. So there's a bunch of reasons for it. And also one of the other reasons is because certainly it could offer or shed light onto the case in a very unfavorable way to the complainant, which could end in more harassment, which is obviously antithetical to the whole process.
So what's supposed to happen is that a person makes a claim, and if there's a lawsuit involved, then the defendant gets to defend themselves. But this whole thing about Justin Baldoni creating his own lawsuit against her, that was seen as retaliatory.
Yeah.
Instead of him just defending against her lawsuit.
Yeah.
Which is totally fair, and he's entitled to do that. Okay, so she has filed today. Blake Lively filed a motion for attorney's fees, treble damages, and punitive damages under that law, California Civil Code Section 47.1. So I am just going to read a few of the things that were filed today. We have Ezra Hudson has filed. This is interesting. This is 3 of the lawsuits are cited in this. So I guess that this involves these lawsuits: Blake Lively v. Wayfarer Studios.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Jennifer Abel v. Jonesworks. They're citing that because they're saying that that's retaliatory.
Yeah.
And Wayfarer Studios v. Blake Lively, which we expected.
Yeah.
So Ezra Hudson filed this today. This is a declaration. And
what a name. I just can't get over it every time you say it.
Ezra Hudson?
Why couldn't I be called Ezra Hudson? It's so much better than Dale Wheatley. It's like, a new film by Ezra Hudson.
It's an interesting name.
I would go see that, and it's not even a fucking filmmaker.
That's an interesting name for a woman, too. Anyway, this lawyer.
Dale?
This is... What?
Oh, Ezra.
Yeah, Dale also is a good, interesting name for a woman. Can we focus?
I apologize, everyone.
Don't apologize.
It's
oh my
Monday,
God. So Ezra Hudson just wanted to point out that specifically it's the signal chat messages dated February 1st, 2025, produced by the Skyline Agency, which is the web design company that created Justin Baldoni's lawsuit. And so there's a bunch of messages that they exchanged back and forth that they believe that this lawyer believes supports Blake Lively's motion.
Delicious.
Where they're basically like, yeah, so we want a website to do our retaliation. How much is that going to cost?
One of these days I'm going to show up with a bib on.
Why?
Because it's just like a feast. But go ahead.
Okay, here's another one. This is super interesting. This is a declaration. This is super redacted. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's this much redacted. Can you see that?
Is it in the file? I can show it to people that way.
No, it's not in the file. Anyway, this is a declaration. This is in regards to Wayfarer versus Blake Lively. Okay? This apparently is a witness that heard Steve Sarowitz talking, but also, I'm just going to read through this redacted. I'm just going to try and fill in so that you guys can make sense of what it's saying. This says, obviously the person's name is unknown. I am over 18 years of age, of sound mind, and otherwise competent to make this declaration. The evidence set out in the foregoing declaration is based on my personal knowledge. Okay? Super long redaction. Something, something, Wayfarer Studios, Justin Baldoni, a founder of Wayfarer, something, something, listing other people. I had repeated negative interactions with Mr. Baldoni and his associates, including verbal abuse by Mr. Baldoni. Can you believe that?
I'm amazed.
I had repeated negative interactions with Mr. Baldoni and his associates.
Is this Blake?
No, this is a different person. This is a non-party who is a witness. I had repeated negative interactions with Mr. Baldoni and his associates, including verbal abuse by Mr. Baldoni. Something redacted, Mr. Baldoni not be permitted on set during the majority of production as a result of those experiences.
So was that a request or was that?
I have no idea.
It wasn't a result. He was the star of the movie.
I know the redacted part kind of makes it impossible to understand this grammar. So the sentence begins with like a block of redaction. Then it continues, Mr. Baldoni not be permitted on set during the majority of production as a result of those experiences. I wonder if this person was kicked off of set by him? Like per Mr. Baldoni? I don't know. I don't know why that part would be redacted. Your guess is as good as mine. Then there's a huge redacted block. And it continues, I requested that he not be involved in redacted marketing or public relations efforts. Okay, next paragraph. Something, something, I was contacted by the assistant to Steve Sarowitz, the co-founder and co-chairman of Wayfarer, to schedule a time for me and Mr. Sarowitz to speak. Fifth paragraph, Mr. Sarowitz assistant did not identify a topic for the meeting. And then it's a bunch of redacted, like a whole, probably 2 sentences redacted. Paragraph 6 reads, a true and correct copy of redacted produced in discovery as, and then it's a exhibit number is being submitted with this declaration as exhibit 1. I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct.
Well, that's just super juicy. I wonder who that could be.
Well, so I wonder whether this is a witness for what Mr. Sarowitz said, or whether this is a witness to Mr. Baldoni's verbal abuse, in quotes. Okay, we don't know. This is still under seal. So juicy. Okay.
So damn juicy.
You want to wear a bib?
I'm going to wear a bib. It's gotten to the point where I think we have to show up with bibs. Because these days it's just getting like crazy.
Okay, so this is
like crazy.
Okay, this is the third of the 4 documents I wanted to share with you guys about this. This is notice of Blake Lively's motion for attorney's fees, treble damages, and punitive damages under California Civil Code. This is just from the lawyer stating what they're doing, and then the situation. Okay.
Okay.
Let me just skip to this. Pursuant to California Civil Code section blah blah blah, ruling that she is a prevailing defendant under section 47.1, and as such that she's entitled to attorney's fees and costs for successfully defending herself in the litigation, treble damages for the harm caused by Wayfarer Studios, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarowitz, It Ends With Us Movie LLC, Melissa Nathan, the agency group PR LLC, and Jennifer Abel, collectively the Wayfarer parties, in bringing their retaliatory defamatory action against her, and punitive damages sufficient to deter the Wayfarer parties from engaging in such conduct in the future. For these reasons and those set forth in more detail in the accompanying memorandum of law, the court should grant Ms. Lively's motion in its entirety. Okay. And then that's what this is. So this is 30 pages where they go.
So are you going to go into the 30?
Well, I just discovered this today.
Do you want to get into some of the chat? Because I know the chat's been pretty active. We have some new folks here.
Okay, great.
Or some folks that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, they're probably here to argue with us.
No, they're not.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Don't be so cynical, Angela. Don't be so cynical.
I'm so traumatized.
You got to not be so cynical.
Okay, so this is, the introduction and summary of the argument.
Do you want to read that before we go into the comments? The introduction and summary?
Yeah, great. I'll do that.
Okay. Let's start there. And yeah, good.
Introduction and summary of argument. The Wayfair Party's defamatory action against Blake Lively was baseless from the start. Despite repeated warnings about the impropriety of their legal claims and the consequences of continuing to pursue them, the Wayfair Parties refused to back down.
This is, I think, such a huge start.
Oh.
Like, that's just a massive start. Because it's not just that he did it. It's also that he did it and it was baseless.
And they were warned.
And we know it was baseless because it got thrown out of the court. So how strong is she in that first sentence? I mean, she's just walking with fucking, like, I mean, it's just so nuclear. Go ahead.
The Wayfair Parties refused to back down. Instead, they stoked the flames of public sentiment, posting their retaliatory lawsuit on a public website alongside dozens of heavily redacted and context-free exhibits masquerading as receipts to flood the zone with vicious character attacks on Miss Lively, designed to damage her credibility and to conceal their own unlawful acts.
What's interesting about that, though, is that what the truth is that that website has so much gaslighting in it. Like it has an abundance of evidence that completely supports her claims from top to bottom. Like, it's just, and then the gaslighting.
And then the narrative totally contradicts what you can read in the evidence.
Which is like right there.
Several times. It's really astonishing.
Yeah. And we come up with those examples all the time. We've talked about the Taylor Swift, song, and the whole editing moment where they're asking Jamie Heath not to be a dick about it. Sony's asking Jamie Heath, don't be a dick about it. She's working her ass off. She approved the trailer.
There's so many instances of that, or like him claiming that she refused to meet with the intimacy coordinator, and literally her message says like, no, that's okay, I'll meet with her on set. Yeah, like where she's gonna work.
Yeah,
where we're all gonna be working together.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
okay. Exhibits masquerading as receipts to flood the zone with vicious character attacks on Miss Lively, designed to damage her credibility and to conceal their own unlawful acts. Indeed, the Wayfair Parties tried their best to sue Miss Lively, in quotes, into oblivion, and made substantial progress towards fulfilling Steve Sarowitz's threat to spend $100 million to ruin the lives of Miss Lively and her husband, leaving, in quotes, 2 dead bodies in his wake. This court has already recognized the Wayfair Party's pattern, this is a quote, pattern of using filings on the docket as an opportunity to litigate this case in the press rather than in court, and to exploit the litigation process to, in quotes, invite public speculation and scandal. Using a $400 million lawsuit against Miss Lively as their vehicle, the Wayfair Parties tried to manufacture an air of legitimacy to their conduct, a tactic about which this court has warned them and has cautioned the public and press. And while Miss Lively has used every tool available to her to try to stop this abuse, including moving to strike offensive filings, moving for sanctions under Rule 11 and Rule 3.6, and successfully moving to dismiss the Wayfair Party's lawsuit in its entirety, their improper conduct continues unabated. Now Miss Lively seeks the deterrent remedy provided in California Civil Code Section 47.1, which prohibits the precise tactics that the Wayfair Parties have deployed.
You know what's so interesting, because we're about to get into this in a little bit after we get through all this, which is that, the attack right now is so pointed on Ryan Reynolds. Like, Ryan Reynolds is the center of the attack. It's on all my feeds. It's everywhere.
It's so transparent.
Yeah,
too.
We're going to go over some of it. But like they're attacking this dude. They're trying to take this dude down. You're not really hearing much about Blake Lively in these moments. It's really on him. Now, I know that there's a little bit of him in the spotlight, but Blake Lively just came out recently after however many months of not making any really public appearances. And what did they do? They picked on what she wore.
Yeah, there was somebody that posted that they don't believe for a second that she was a victim of SH because real victims don't dress like that. And I was like, oh my God.
They slut-shamed her.
That's like... That is the oldest fucking lie.
It's exactly why I keep going back to this, but I think it's the most important example. It's exactly why sex workers never, rarely had claim. It's like, corn stars. I don't know if you can say that on this platform, but you know what I mean?
No, there was a whole touring exhibit called What She Was Wearing, where they put up on museum walls the victims of actual attacks and what they were wearing at the time. It has nothing to do with what you wear. No. And people shouldn't fucking change the way that they dress because they're victims in the future.
That. It's the misogyny behind it,
yeah, of course it is.
It's not just like that it's obviously not that, because we know that.
But like going after what she's wearing is just like, come on, you're telling on yourself.
Such weak sauce, man.
That says so much more about you than it does about her.
For sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, should I continue or not?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, please.
Okay. It prohibits so that law, which prohibits the precise tactics the Wayfarer parties have deployed here, imposing several penalties for unsuccessfully filing retaliatory defamation actions against sexual harassment and retaliation complainants. Under Section 47.1, any communication made by an individual without malice regarding an incident of sexual assault, harassment, or discrimination. So you were right. It's assault, harassment, or discrimination, including retaliation, is privileged, so long as the speaker has or at any time had a reasonable basis to file a complaint of sexual assault, harassment, or discrimination, whether the complaint is or was filed or not. Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't even have to be filed. There's a bunch of people who are anti-Lively who are constantly haranguing me and everybody else about how they don't have evidence of sexual harassment because it wasn't an official filing, and it literally doesn't matter. The law recognizes complaints made anyway, regardless of any official filing.
Well, because they have to, because they have to make provisions, or they have to make available the same laws and rules and remedies for people who don't have a mechanism to use something.
What if the person who you're complaining about is the person who you're supposed to file the complaint with?
Or that they don't even have someone to do that with. Even if you go and you knock on the door and go, yo, Justin, I got to complain about you. You're a real fucking problem. You know, like if that's not going to work, they still don't have like an HR department. They don't have an individual, an attorney for that matter.
And all of this denial on his part is absurd because he admits it in his own timeline document.
Yeah.
He fucking admits.
It's hilarious. I mean, well, first of all, you don't even have to, but even if you did, it's been done. You know, we know that she felt this way, and this is the other part that people don't want to get. It doesn't matter what you think about the SH. It doesn't matter if you think it was legitimate or not, or if you think that her complaints are warranted. It doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't fucking matter.
No, he was obligated
no one's opinion,
by law to address it properly.
And she can complain about whatever she wants. Now, you go through a process. If you're a fucking, a half-witted company, you're going to go through a process. You're going to have a mechanism in place to, investigate or explore, and understand the complaint, and then find a remedy to that complaint. And
treble damages, bro.
Treble damages, come and get it.
She's gonna.
I wonder how that works though, because it gets like treble damages. So they say, okay, so they make it a single award and then they multiply that by 3. Yes. But it's just weird because it's like,
and attorney's fees.
I almost feel like it's like, how like when you're playing like a game, like a board game, and then you like okay, you got to pick a card. You pick a card. Oh, treble damages. Like I feel like that's when it should come, because like as a jury, like if you already know there's treble damages, then are you adjusting to that?
No, what they're gonna do is they're gonna have different qualifications for the jury. On the jury form, it's going to be like, is she entitled to damages? What is the amount of damages? And then another item is going to be like, did they break this law? So, which entitles her to treble damages and lawyer's fees and what was the other thing?
Cake.
And cake. Her favorite cake. Whatever it may be.
She gets cake and ice cream.
I'm sure she'll have cake at the end of this for sure. But I think those are separate. I don't think that... You're so weird. I don't think that the jury decides them all together in a lump.
Well, so I'm saying, I was just curious. I'm just wondering, it just suddenly occurred to me like, well, if I knew that somebody was going to get treble damages, would that then like influence the way I think about the award?
Maybe, but it shouldn't. The jury will have instructions for it not to.
You better not. Kids, gather round. Daddy's got a message.
Tisk, tisk.
Tisk, tisk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Section 47.1 of the law ensures that individuals who experience sexual harassment or retaliation are able to share their experiences with courts, agencies, the press. So that's the New York Times lawsuit out the fucking window. And others without fear of being sued for doing so. The California legislature enacted this privilege to provide a clear, unambiguous pathway to justice for victims of sexual assault, harassment, and discrimination.
By the way, that's still justice for people who are wrong, for those who are wrongfully accused. Those people get their justice too. It is an unfortunate thing to be wrongfully accused, but you still have to go through the process as a wrongfully accused individual that the law requires.
What's interesting about that?
To both prove your innocence and speak out. I was just finishing. It's okay.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm just so eager to tell you this.
You can step all over me anytime. Tell me.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
It's because Mercury's in Virgo. I'm really struggling.
Believe me, I know. And I'm talking me, not you.
What's really cool about that, though, is that if you are being wrongfully accused and the person is able to go to the courts, to the press, to all of this, and you can't retaliate with a lawsuit, even though they're wrongfully accusing you.
Yeah.
What this provision has done is made it very clear for you to gather up all your evidence of how they defamed you. Right? So now it's easier for you to file defamation. If what they're saying is not true, then that means that you now have the courts and the press as a place that they disseminated that information so that you can more easily prove it with malice.
It's very interesting, by the way, because, I just read today, Kevin Costner's in a situation with a stunt woman. Do you know about this? I won't get into the depths of it, but she's claiming SH, retaliation, all this other stuff, maybe even SA. And Marty Singer, who was the firm that represented Leonardo DiCaprio in my lawsuit with Leonardo DiCaprio, Laveley and Singer. Laveley, I believe, has since passed. And now Marty Singer, I don't know if he joined another firm or whatever, but anyway, that's the lawyer for...
he's working on everything, dude. He's also, he's
the biggest guy.
He's doing Priscilla Presley's lawsuit right now.
He's the biggest guy. So Marty Singer, he came out and said of the claims made by the stunt woman that they were baseless, that they have, all the evidence to prove it, blah, blah, blah. Like, he was able to make a statement publicly refuting her claims while still, standing well within the confines or, performing well within the confines of the rules and the laws, as written in the state of California. He's a California-based attorney. This is a California-based lawsuit that's going on. So it's just really interesting when you look at, like, procedure and the way that things should be done versus the way things have been done in this case, and you can see a very distinct difference between what would be considered not only good lawyering but ethical lawyering versus, and I'm saying that about Marty Singer, who was ultimately my opponent. You know what I mean? And
right.
the guy's like, he does his job. He knows what he's doing. Obviously, that's why he's one of the most sought after attorneys in Hollywood.
But there's no way that this law is written in a way that railroads falsely accused people. Like, of course, it gives them the ability to defend themselves.
Yeah. And their attorneys are going to be able to, what I'm trying to say exactly about that is that attorneys on their behalf will be able to, instead of going out and they're smearing people and saying this and that, they're able to say, look, we don't believe any of this happened.
And this is the thing. If
and
Justin
we believe
Baldoni's,
that in our day in court, we're going to get exonerated and they can move on from that.
That's right. If Justin Baldoni's people, if all of the people he had working for him had just stuck to the program and kept her name out of their mouth, and only worked on improving his reputation and his defense, he'd be fine. He'd be golden right now.
I'm telling you, you couple that with my fucking, that I've been preaching, you couple that with, hey guys, I disagree with what happened on the set of It Ends With Us, but I don't disagree with Blake Lively being able to go through her process. We're going to go, Justin Baldoni.
You're Justin Baldoni.
We're going to go through this process. It's uncomfortable for us all. Nobody wants this. I hope that we'll one day be able to at least look back on this and know that we've resolved it like amicably.
But it's important to shine a light on all of these allegations so that the truth can come out.
But what's important as we go and we get the facts out and we resolve the matter, you can avoid truth and lie. You can step around this in such a way that makes you saintly and gives you real, genuine support and confusion from a bunch of people like me who are going to look at things logically as opposed to...
dude, and that's what people hire publicists for, and I don't understand why they failed him so badly.
Like Melissa Nathan, there's another lawsuit that sprung from all these, right?
Yes. Yeah, because
and
Blake
it's
Lively
her
is
again doing the same shit to another person.
So check this out. So Blake Lively is like exposing what Melissa Nathan does for other clients of hers. So one of her other clients, she's working with Rebel Wilson, and apparently she made a website for Rebel Wilson, which was like an attack website against her opponent, which is this producer, last name Ghost.
Yes.
Coolest last name I've ever heard.
Ghost. Forget about it.
However,
you'd be like, don't ghost me? What do you mean?
I think it was just, there was somebody made a statement to the court where the person whose name was on the website had their identity stolen.
Wow.
So it means that
that's right.
Melissa Nathan is directing people to create websites and hide who's making them and like steal
identities.
What?
Or impersonate people.
It's so deep, guys.
It's a big deal on this platform, on YouTube. I found out because there were people coming in here harassing us. Dr. Susan's here. I was just thinking about you. Man, that's so good to see you. People showing up here and impersonating.
Yeah.
So I started because I was like, what am I going to do? They're going to ruin our lives. Our community is everything to us. It's small and wonderful. you know?
That's true.
And if it grows, it grows. I don't really care. The one that we have is really worth preserving. And so I looked it up, and YouTube is like, it's one of their bigger violations is
They put the hammer down.
So I've just been reporting people for that now. When they do it, I just report it, and it's like they look at like harsh penalties, which is probably suspensions and bans. So it's a big deal.
Good. It's a fucking
so
creepy
that
thing
Melissa
to do.
Nathan is engaging in that kind of activity, just to show you like YouTube's perspective on it, shows how really unethical and how deep this goes. Because this is like, I mean, it's one thing to be impersonating another in some sort of like channel where it's obvious, like ours, where there's a chat going on.
It's so reckless, dude. She must have a fucking screw loose or something. Like, I don't know why she's such a honey badger. Like, she doesn't care about any consequences.
Yo, I watched a honey badger take on a fucking baby elephant.
Oh, I saw that too. Yeah.
This baby elephant was kicking it like a football, and it got back up and was like, fuck you, bitch. And right back at it.
Dude. Honey badgers don't give a fuck.
For real. I don't know if she's a honey badger, because I don't think she's got the smarts or the bite. I think she's maybe something like a hyena
reckless,
without a pack.
Dude. You remember that? You remember that video game meme? Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
Oh, he just like runs
Leroy Jenkins.
Yes. That's like
what
her.
What are you doing, bro?
I know. Just fucks everything up.
That's a great example of her. Yes, she's just
when
out
she's
of control.
telling Justin Baldoni he's got a lawyer up. Like, yeah, he has a lawyer, but he needs a litigator. Like, he needs to fight.
Yes.
I'm like, Leroy Jenkins, bro.
Leroy
fucking
Jenkins.
ruined everything.
Do you want to get into some chat now before we continue?
Anyway, should I continue with that or?
Yeah, continue. Is there more of that?
Yes,
but, please. Yeah,
no,
go
it's
ahead.
30 pages. I'm not going to read the whole 30 pages. I was just going to finish the introduction.
Yeah, finish the introduction, please. I'm sorry to keep interrupting. It's fun though.
I don't mind you interrupting.
Feldbaumling is here, by the way.
Oh, sweet.
Say what's up.
Okay, specifically Section 47.1 is intended to deter frivolous claims that force survivors to defend against a long and expensive retaliatory defamation lawsuit by imposing significant remedies for successful defendants in defamation claims. So, this is interesting. So she's going to be awarded treble damages and lawyers' fees if she prevails. But it's not like she would be awarded if she doesn't.
Correct.
Like if he defends successfully, then she wouldn't be entitled to this.
Yes, because that's interesting. It is interesting because that's such an interesting thing when you think about it, because then that can like throw into or it can, lean into that strategically, potentially, if you're on the other side of an accusation, on the wrong side of an accusation.
Right.
You might be able to lean into that if you believe, or if you're sure that it's a false allegation. Because in that case, you can, according to this, be, out publicly,
right,
and prevail. That's very interesting.
Moreover, because 47.1 is intended to protect victims from the litigation itself, these remedies must be available at the earliest stage, typically through a motion to dismiss, to protect survivors from punishing protracted legal process. Consistent with the law's stated purpose, the court should act promptly to remedy the substantial harm Ms. Lively has incurred. There can be no doubt that the Wayfarer Party's suit is the prototypical suit that the California legislature intended to short-circuit by enacting this law. The alleged defamatory statements that formed the basis of the Wayfarer Party's lawsuit meet all the elements of privileged statements under that section for reasons this court has already recognized. Thus, as the prevailing defendant, Ms. Lively is entitled to her attorney's fees and costs, treble damages, and punitive damages. As for punitive damages, the record, as it currently exists, is sufficient for the court to determine the Wayfarer Party is engaged in oppression, fraud, or malice by bringing and maintaining their claims against Ms. Lively, entitling her to punitive damages under this civil code law. As set forth in greater detail below, the Wayfarer parties and their lawyers used the now dismissed claims to peddle falsehoods in the media, and they did not stop even after the court granted Ms. Lively's motion to dismiss, misrepresenting in a televised interview the nature of the court's order and feeding the media an online frenzy by thanking the, in quotes, internet sleuth community who continue to cover the case. That's Brian Friedman's quote.
Yeah,
he's gonna get in trouble.
Andy
himself.
Siegner was doing calling them. It was a genius move by Brian Friedman. He called it something like or Justin Baldoni's genius move or whatever. But
yeah,
obviously, The
I
brains
noticed-
being Brian Friedman.
I noticed this too. Misrepresentation in a televised interview. The nature of the court's order. Everybody has been distorting the judge's ruling about throwing out Justin Baldoni's case. They keep saying that it's on a technicality. He is very clear that Justin Baldoni never provided any evidence to support any of his claims in the lawsuit.
Right.
Like, it is literally him saying this is a fake lawsuit, and that's why it's thrown out.
I mean,
and
he literally says that he's not going to grant any amendment opportunities because there would be no point.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing factually that they could amend to.
Right. And he was like, the last thing that could possibly be valid is your contract claim. So if you would just provide the court with a contract that supports these claims, then we're good. And they never did.
Did not.
They never did. Contract claims are the easiest.
They should be. I mean, they can be. I mean, when you get them on the table, that could be a different story. But yes, that part of it at least should be fairly easy.
Yeah, a lot easier than defamation. Okay, it is hard to imagine a more straightforward application of Section 47.1, including its provision for punitive damages. Accordingly, Ms. Lively...
I mean, for real.
Yeah.
They put up a website.
I know.
It's like, what more do you need?
Accordingly, Ms. Lively respectfully requests a ruling that she is a prevailing defendant under 47.1, and as such, that she's entitled to 1, her reasonable attorney's fees and costs for successfully defending herself in the litigation. Number 2, treble damages for the harm caused by the Wayfarer party's retaliatory defamation action against her. And 3, punitive damages sufficient to deter the Wayfarer parties from engaging in such conduct in the future. Following those legal determinations, Ms. Lively respectfully requests that the court set a schedule for the submission of affidavits and a decision after an evidentiary hearing, if necessary, as to the quantification of those awards pursuant to this rule.
So this is...
And that's only page 8 of 30. So they go into all the details, which I will read myself.
Is this a summary judgment? Is this a motion for summary judgment?
No, this is a motion for the treble damages.
So this is just on their lawsuit. This is just about their lawsuit.
Blake Lively's motion for attorney's fees, treble damages, and punitive damages under California Civil Code Section 47.1. So I will read the rest of this 30 pages tomorrow, and I'm going to bring you guys all the juicy details about what specifically they did according to these lawyers.
Yeah, and if anyone, because our scientist seems pretty knowledgeable and very articulate, so they might have something to add. Now we can certainly, by the way, if you point to something,
definitely
you can go,
share stuff.
Do you want to hit up the chat now and
yes, see
what's up in the chat? Wow. So I mean, I just don't know how many bad days they can have. Like, how many bad days can you have before it's a fucking summary judgment? It just looks ridiculous at this point. Now, I mean, obviously
it's been ridiculous though, and they're not stopping.
I'm talking about like the, since the dismissal. You know, I mean, it's just, and we'll get into the smear campaign and just the general like refusal of the Team Baldoni side of things to look at the facts. All the facts. It's just mind-blowing to me.
Jennifer Ann is with us in the chat.
Hi, Jennifer Ann.
It's disturbing that the content creators cannot admit that there might be a possibility that Justin Baldoni is an asshole. Total bias.
It's so weird that you can't look at the facts objectively enough when you don't have a horse in the race. I mean, I don't understand. And I was screaming this when I was on the phone with fucking Andy Signor. I'm like, why are you participating in the ruining of this person's life? I'm shouting this at him. Why are you ruining Why are you ruining Blake Lively's life, Andy? You have 1 million followers. Why are you doing this? He couldn't answer. He could not answer. Now, obviously,
because he can't tell you.
He might be on the take, right? He might be on the take. So there's that, And
we can't put in writing what we're going to do to her.
I said this to him, but I said this on the call to him, though, and I was like, you sound like you're on the take. Like, the way you're going about your business, it sounds like, to me, like you're getting fucking paid or you're getting some kind of favors or something out of the Friedman camp, out of the Baldoni camp. So, if that's the motive, great. But if you're like somebody like Sassy Dave Navarro, Zach Peter,
yeah.
If you're Zach Peter, I don't get it with that guy. That guy it's just all about adoration and having the followers and being this center of attention.
I think his lane is like celebrity scandals and celebrity gossip and like, reality TV, pop culture stuff,
Yeah.
So of course he would be talking about this.
Yeah. Dr. Susan loves all scientists name.
Yeah.
I don't think I get it.
Oh, it probably, the AU before words often refers to autistic or autism.
Oh, really? Well, that'd be pretty neat.
And it kind of like, it makes me think that it's like a better scientist, you know?
Like an auspicious scientist?
Okay. I think that's a really good point, Jennifer Ann. It's disturbing that the content creators can't admit that there might be a possibility that Justin Baldoni is an asshole.
Well, it's look, we're not very big, and and look, I don't put out the content the way that they do. I just don't have the time to cut this content right now, and so it's whatever. So we'd probably be bigger than we are if I could get that content out the door. But we're still very small, and I'll tell you, like, if you go and you look online, like if you go to Reddit, for example, there's Baldoni files. That is the sort of, like, I like call it the logical, like reasonable.
Yeah, they call it the pro-survivor.
Pro-survivor.
Side. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but very pro-lively in respect to this case, obviously. And so they have a fraction of the followers that the Baldoni one has, which is it ends in lawsuits.
Well, who knows how many of those people are actually,
or it ends with lawsuits,
like, not bots, you know?
Well, no,
it's easy for them to manipulate Reddit.
Okay, whatever. The point that, well, there's a certain amount of that, but I actually been looking at both of them because I'm looking for the Baldoni. I'm trying to find any kind of logic. I can't believe these guys in their comments, they go back and forth with misinformation.
Oh, yeah,
and they feed it. They eat it like it's fucking,
I know, it's really frustrating.
Salad with French dressing.
French dressing.
Oh, don't you love it?
Did you see that the White House had a menu on their, like, stupid, they turned
the Rose Garden into a piece.
They turned the Rose Garden into, like, a fucking food court.
Yeah.
And they had a menu, and it had an iceberg salad with Thousand Island dressing.
That's done by request by Donald
So
Trump.
disgusting.
He probably went to the back. He's like, everybody loves it. Everybody loves Thousand Islands.
I just imagine the kind of dude is like some fucking golf dad, who wears compression socks, has like that white shit in the corner of his mouth. That's the kind of guy that loves that kind of menu.
Oh, this is cool. Our scientist said, ends with court is a good place for discussion focused explicitly on the court filing. So I'm gonna go get into that. Thank you very much for that.
That is interesting.
I'll dig into that because we love reading all the despite look my my relationship with litigation is from a litigant's perspective.
Yeah,
I was a defendant in a major lawsuit with Leonardo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire, myself, Artie Robb, and David Stotman, and a couple others, and it was like going to mini law school. It was.
That's why I was so thrilled to bring this story to you, because you're so insightful. You know exactly how to cut through the bullshit and get to what's really happening. In this lawsuit. Brad Friedman is like blowing smoke up everybody's ass.
I can give the perspective of the litigant at least, and some insight into the process and procedure.
Right. Like, so another thing that I thought was really interesting, since you were in so many depositions yourself, but you also sat and observed all the others.
Yeah. I sat through hundreds of hours of depositions. Yeah.
Last week or the week before, everybody was running with a story on the pro Baldoni guys were all running with the story that Blake Lively had admitted in her deposition that there was no smear campaign, but what they were referencing was her being asked a direct question about her personal experience, her personal knowledge of the smear campaign. And what she said was, I don't have personal knowledge of the smear campaign. And everybody was like, aha, here she is saying that there's no smear campaign.
She's so great at putting foot in mouth.
Well, no, she was answering a direct question in a series of other direct questions.
I understand.
Where I'm sure she got to elaborate that her knowledge came from the investigators and the research and the lawyers and stuff who were working on this.
Of course.
But you were really clarifying about that, where you're like, these are yes or no questions. Like, she has to answer exactly what's asked of her.
Yes,
and I think
no.
that a lot of people who are just watching this case don't recognize that she's not giving the full answer. That if you take a tiny little excerpt of a deposition, you're not going to get the full answer, because every single detail is combed out the lawyers do not leave anything up for
They
misinterpretation.
also stagger the questions, meaning like they'll break up the questions particular to a point or an item, like evidence or something, and they'll put it, they'll like sandwich it in between stuff, and which is an opportunity.
What's the tactic there?
Well, there's two. They can try asked and answered questions, so there's an objection called asked and answered, and the objection is meant to prevent people from being tricked into giving different answers to the same question. So reframe questions and try to basically get you to contradict your previous answer or set you up to contradict a future answer.
So sneaky.
Yeah, it's super sneaky. So that's one of the tactics that that I was certainly told about by our attorneys to watch out for, was like, and they obviously can object most of the time, unless you're instructed to do so by your counsel. You have to answer even with the objections.
Yeah.
So in depositions, they make the objection, then you answer, and then when the judge gets the transcript from the depositions and rules on them, they'll be ruling them based, but they'll have already seen the answers.
Another thing that I wanted to ask you about: how odd is it that none of the Wayfarer parties have been deposed yet?
Yeah, well, it is odd. It is odd. It's very strange. I'll tell you, it's the exact same thing that happened in my lawsuit, though. I sat for 5 fucking days, and RD about the same. Stutman's probably 3-4 days. Metter's 3-4 days. Schindler a couple of days. Like, people sat in our lawsuit for multiple days on our side. We got some pretty good. Like, I think we got Toby for a few days. Certainly we did. I can't remember. It was like 4 days, I think. But Leo was impossible. It was impossible. And the delay, it was totally lopsided. We had sat and, they avoided depositions what seemed like forever. What's interesting about that, though, is and this is the same for Blake Lively. Like, she was the first to sit. We were the first to sit. So maybe that's sort of protocol, like unspoken protocol. Maybe plaintiffs and the plaintiff sides are generally the first to be deposed. It doesn't make sense to me. It actually makes more sense that the plaintiff would want to have the discovery of the person they're accusing.
Yeah, it is really strange. And also, it's been such a delay. Like, that was a long time ago. Like,
yeah,
it's
no,
so
it's
weird.
ridiculous. Well, I think we're long past what was the ultimately soft deadline for discovery, right? I thought discovery was supposed to be due in August.
Isn't that weird?
Which tells you that the trial's going to get delayed.
Oh, you think?
Well, I mean, they're already delaying discovery, and they haven't even sat for depositions, and we're already past the first week. We're in the second week of September, and there's no Wayfarer depositions yet. It doesn't look. It looks like April, May, and that's if things don't really start picking up now. Maybe. I don't know what I'm talking about, and I also don't know what's on their agenda in terms of depositions. It's going to be interesting who they try to call. Anyway, do you want to keep going? Or are there more?
Yes. Well, I wanted to say something about this. You picked up again right after I mentioned it, but Jennifer Ann was saying that the content creators can't admit that there's a possibility that Justin Baldoni is an asshole. And I just find that so fucking strange, because everybody is an asshole. Potentially everybody has the opportunity. Everybody in a certain situation could be an asshole. Every time I've ever heard about a celebrity who snaps at somebody at a restaurant or something for asking for an autograph, I'm like, yeah, that's like totally understandable.
I know.
I don't know why he has to be such a golden boy in their eye that he can't like obviously he's under a lot of stress.
Paul Newman didn't sign autographs.
Oh yeah. Well, he wasn't an asshole about it though.
No, I mean, some people thought he was.
I just mean, like, there's some times where people act like assholes because they've had a bad day and they get antagonized.
No, it's true.
And so it's just so
they
weird.
Have a fucking headache. They're sitting there with a pounding headache. It's like, oh my God, would you just fuck off?
Yeah.
Could you fuck off?
I know.
Nobody asked you to come to me and get in my face. Just get the fuck out of my face. It happens. They snap. Falling down. It's a falling down moment. If you know what I'm talking about, it's the great Schumacher movie starring Michael Douglas, producer of One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That is really an excellent movie.
Which
I
one?
feel like I reference that movie all the time.
Which one?
Falling Down.
Yeah, Falling Down's fun.
Okay, Delicatessen said I won week 1 of fantasy football.
Well, congratulations. Sorry that the Chiefs did fall.
I have Patrick and Travis on my team. Shake it off offense.
Yeah.
Shake it offense.
That's hilarious.
That's
They'll be
cute.
back. They'll come back. Congrats. That's amazing. I haven't played fantasy football in so many years.
Guilty Angel is recommending that we watch the film Cocaine Cowboys, Griselda Blanco's story.
Oh, it sounds great. I really like the title. I don't like me no whiskey cowboys. They're boring.
I know. Okay. I'm Bobo said, if you get to that kid asking a question to Ryan Reynolds and was about Ryan Reynolds' Scrabble box having too much sauce. I tell you, I agree. And they're like inside of a farmer's wrap. What is this? And honestly, I found it funny, not rude. Oh, this is about Ryan Reynolds was at his premiere.
He was on a red carpet event.
And there was a kid asking questions.
Yeah, some kid was asking questions. I wasn't even going to cover that.
And they thought
part.
that Ryan Reynolds was rude.
Yeah.
But if you look at the clip that they're sharing of him being rude, it is so spliced. Like there isn't a breath. It's like 2 seconds reaction.
Yeah.
It's so obviously.
I mean, he's not going to go treating fucking children bad on the red carpet under these circumstances. You know, they act like this guy's not smart. Like they just want to pretend that this guy is not a smart guy. You know? I'm sorry, guys.
It just sucks too because they're just
smarter than that.
They're watching every single thing that he does. Do you want to pull those up?
Oh, sure. You want to? We're going to like. Well. Oh, sure. I'd love to. I already have it pulled up. Well, actually, I'd like to start with this. So this is the smear campaign. I'm going to start with this person who I should be able to get the audio.
So Ryan Reynolds he was at TIFF and he was premiering his
before this is actually
he was premiering his documentary,
which
everybody is super excited about because John Candy is universally beloved.
Before you set that up, the one I want to play is, so we're getting the smear.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's why the smear campaign has like gotten
legs.
Like shrieking volume because Ryan Reynolds is out and he's being successful. Yeah,
let me play for you. Yeah, I guess that's part of it, but I think it also could have something to do. Well, we'll see. Listen to this video. This is just an absolute this is just so ridiculous. And let me just actually cue this up here. And then we'll talk about it afterwards. Hang on 1 second. This is like a 1 minute video. TikTok. Let me hit.
Apparently Taylor Swift is renouncing her godmothership of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' kids. And I just want to say, I don't really know or care anything about Blake Lively. I feel like she's always given mean girl energy and this is probably just karma. But Ryan Reynolds, I always loved him until I went to my sister's wedding. And the officiant was my brother-in-law's best friend from childhood. They grew up in Canada. And we're all talking about Marvel and we're all nerds and da-da-da. And I bring up Deadpool and he's like, oh yeah, I can't really watch or get into the Deadpool movies because Ryan Reynolds was like my childhood bully. Come again, what? He was like, yeah, we shared a paper route, and when we were younger, like, I was like a chubby Asian kid with a little Carope shirt, glasses, and Ryan Reynolds terrorized him. He would throw him into trash cans, push him into dog poop, throw away his papers. And this is like a young immigrant kid trying to like help his family. And I just feel like, oh, karma's so sweet. Get fucked, Ryan.
So, I mean... So when Ryan was a fucking paperboy, you know, if you believe anything this woman is saying,
I know she could just be making it up completely.
You just fucking believe anything that this.
Just
fucking
not interested in these hearsay, like third sources, third-hand information.
I had a paper out in Canada.
Yeah,
right? My paper out I had between the ages of 9 and 12, because at 13 I got my first job at McDonald's. I got emancipated by my parents, and I got a job at McDonald's.
Damn.
13.
Fuck, dude. I got my first job
12.
At 16.
So 12, but I was, and all my friends that were paper boys when I was a kid, they were my age. Mm-hmm. Nobody, like, there were some kids that were, you know, maybe pushing 12 to 15 years old. There was a few, but you get away from that money and you go get like a job when you're of age to get a teenager summer job kind of guy, you know, person. Anyway, this fucking paper boy, he was a paper boy. He was a fucking paperboy. Like, they're trying to, like, bring this guy down. As a part of what they're trying to bring this guy down with is things he said 40 years ago. Maybe
when he was a child.
35 years ago when he was a child, likely prepubescent. And she's trying to create this like this kid as somebody's out there bleeding at the fingertips to help his immigrant family. He's delivering newspapers. We all did it.
Well, maybe he was. What I'm saying is that's
He wasn't not delivering papers.
Listen,
He wasn't.
That's even farther removed from the story, because the story is: did Justin Baldoni sexually harass Blake Lively on set and then retaliate against her?
Well, we know that, but this is like
this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't even want to entertain these stories because, like, okay, you've got personal beef with Ryan Reynolds. Like, I hope that you can seek a remedy for that. But what you're not going to do is like.
Well, this is about the smear campaign on Ryan Reynolds.
I have seen documents by the publicists that they're sharing with each other where they are promising to attack Ryan Reynolds. And so I just am incapable of believing any attack on Ryan Reynolds, because I've seen that publicists are planning, and they've written it down. They put it down on documentation saying that they're going to do these manipulations and these stories and this smear campaign against Ryan Reynolds with Blake Lively. So I'm sorry, but like I don't want to be gullible. I'm not going to be tricked by these people. So because they wrote it down, now I can't believe anything bad that comes out about him. Like they went and
look at these. I'm putting these up now, but look at these. This is let me see if I can look at this. Ryan Reynolds scolded and cursed at Eugene Levy. Look at these headlines. These are all just recent headlines.
Okay, but did you see the order of those? I want you to go through that, like scroll through. This is like a little presentation, okay? So there's this first one. This is the article, okay? This is somebody sharing the article. And then it is John Candy's son, who was at the premiere, who was like, this is bullshit. That didn't happen.
Okay, so this is the first one is Ryan Reynolds scolded and cursed at Eugene Levy during heated exchange on TIFF red carpet, claims lip reader watch. Fuck is that? So this is the one you're talking about?
Yeah, and then the social media, the number two. It got shared, and this person shared it. What did they say on top?
It says, "Dang, Ryan Reynolds is an asshole."
Yeah, well, apparently John Candy's children were in attendance.
Yeah, we see right there. So
yeah.
Chris Candy right here at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
Hi, I was there. This isn't true.
Yeah, and then the next one is Jennifer Candy, who shows up and is like, absolutely did not fucking happen.
Yeah, the real Jen Candy. Seriously, did not happen. I second what my brother said.
And then the next two are pictures of them together.
Yeah, no, here they are. Here's the hatred.
So obviously what they're doing is like they're tracking Ryan Reynolds, and they're like, ooh, he talked to a kid on the red carpet. Let's create a way in which he was rude to that child. Or, oh, I saw him take pictures with Eugene Levy. Let's create a situation in which he like attacked Eugene Levy on the at this event. Like, I don't know why they think that any of this sticks, but it's obvious that they're just fucking watching
Look, they made up the whole thing between him and Robert Downey Jr. It's just this absolute onslaught. Ryan Reynolds angered Denzel Washington over an inexcusable disturbance on set. This is a 2012 situation. He had a cell phone go off. And by the way, there is not a human being.
Yeah, so you see that framing?
There's literally, it's the fucking most
ridiculous thing. And that article
thing.
was published yesterday about a 2012
September 7th.
incident.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just digging up old shit, just like Kirsty Flaw fucking published it. Was it 2006 or something?
It was a 6-year-old. It wasn't 2006. It was a 6-year-old interview.
Yeah. Right.
At the time.
I know. It's just.
Ryan Reynolds' phone went off during the Denzel Washington's final scene in 2012 thriller Safe House.
That's fucking newsworthy.
And every single human being whose cell phone goes off on a set is the evilest thing that ever walked. I can just tell you that right now. Absolutely nobody loves them. So, I mean, it's just what's crazy is how blatantly obvious it is. That's what's crazy. It's just absolutely blatantly obvious.
Yeah, it's super transparent.
It's transparent. It's right in front of everybody, and this is why I think that they're in sort of bigger trouble than their fans would like to believe, and I think they know it, and I think that's why they've been litigating in the press in the first place. I think they knew from the start that they were coming, and we've said this 1,000 times on this live, and when we were first on TikTok, they have from the beginning knew that they were in a lost cause, and they hired Brian Friedman to do a publicity lawsuit stunt, and I believe that Brian Friedman worked in concert with Melissa Nathan and Jen Albert to orchestrate a lawsuit that was that's the backbone behind it was a publicity stunt. And what's very interesting about that is we read and have read Travis Flores's lawsuit, which was filed and written by or authored by, according to the lawsuit credits, by Brian Friedman. And when you read that lawsuit compared to the one that he filed for this case, it's night and day. One of them is written by a lawyer.
Yes. Yeah.
The other one is written by a fucking publicist.
Travis Flores' lawsuit is well drafted. I don't understand how it's the same person that wrote. There is no hyperbole in Travis Flores' lawsuit. It's
the kind of legal hyperbole you come to expect from.
Right. But that's what we're getting from Blake Lively's side. It's just like lawyers talking about, their client. But the kind of shit that he just like, it's like such creative writing in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit against Blake Lively. Weird.
Yeah. It's definitely more like written like an article. Or articles written more like gossip, gabby stuff, the stuff that gets people chattering and clipping and reproducing in little bits and bites that help chew away at the truth.
So Awe Scientist has provided a little bit more information about that declaration that I read from somebody who was berated by Justin Baldoni.
Who says was verbally abused? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so this is interesting. Awe Scientist said it was someone who worked with Wayfair on our project after It Ends With Us. Baldoni was banned from the set of that project.
Wow. This is so fascinating.
That is interesting.
That is so stupid juicy. I should have wore a bib.
I'm surprised why that would be admissible. It's a different project. It's a different year. It's a different,
Well.
Banned from the set. Damn.
Yeah, it is interesting that it's
I want to know what's underneath all those black bars.
First of all, we don't know that it's admissible. This has not been ruled on as it's something admissible. Yeah. So we don't know what this is. This is their way of doing the same thing. It sounds like it's their form of if this is true, because I don't know what the relevance would be. I can understand why you would try to get it in. You know what I mean? So you'd want to bring the party as a witness. Particularly because it comes after it ends with us. Mm-hmm. So if that's all true, I can understand why, as a lawyer, you would try to get that on the stand if you could. That's got to be a stretch in the first place. But if you could make it happen, that'd be dope. But to put it in a filing is very interesting, and I'd be very curious to see why.
If that's the case with that, because eventually, we might see it unredacted.
Demon Child said I look like an off-duty Blackwater mercenary. I'm in mourning. Rick Davies died.
Oh, are we going to talk about that now?
I'm grieving.
Rick Davies, the great Rick Davies. Do you want to hold up your stack?
Oh yeah,
of Rick Davies records?
Yeah.
So we are huge fans of the band Supertramp.
I've been a fan since I was since 1980 whatever. I don't even know.
Dale and
since
I drove
Breakfast in America.
Dale and I drove across the country listening to Supertramp twice.
This is their first record.
That's their first record.
I feel like David Letterman at this point. I can't show you the second record because it's called Indelibly Stamped. I can show you the back of it.
The back of it, but it has the
front of it has bare breasts.
Has nudity.
This one does too. There's a crack of a butt there. Oh no, my records are falling. Okay, look, Rick Davies died, right? He was a musical genius, an absolute musical genius.
You dropped all our records?
Everything's fine though.
Anyway, there's like 5 of them. We have the whole collection of Supertramp records.
So Rick Davies is a musical genius. Was a musical genius. I love him so much. I listened to him since I was a kid. I discovered him while smoking a little when I was like 14 years old or something like that. I was 14. I got a babysitting job. And at the babysitting job, I went to go, I was looking through the kitchen drawers looking for something. And I guess I got one of the junk drawers. It was looking for something to eat something or something. And I opened up a junk drawer and there was a bag of BC's best, we'll call it. So I was like, I'm going to partake. So I did at 14 years old. So bad,
Dale.
So
you're at work, babysitting.
Well, the baby was sleeping. So I went outside and I smoked a little and I was like, and I got sufficiently altered. And I went into the house. I was like, man, I need to listen to something. I need a record. So I was just looking through their record selection and I came across Breakfast in America, which is one of my favorite records. And of Supertramp, and I was like, well, I know that record, and then I saw this one. right next to it. So they had this record, Supertramp.
You guys, this record's a masterpiece.
This is a masterpiece.
I recommend very, very strongly.
Oh
that
my God, this record
every
does.
one of you listen to. This is a headphone record.
For sure.
This is a no skips record.
For sure.
But headphones are like mandatory. Like you have to listen to it with the good sound.
Yeah.
It's produced so impeccably. Like it's really
It's a perfect record. in my
there's just
opinion.
like some rock albums where you're like, damn, that like the sound mix and the production is just on point. And that one is just like flawless.
Most people think of Supertramp and they think of Roger Hodges' voice, right? Which is the, Breakfast in America song, right? You like to see America. He's wonderful.
He's got a higher voice.
He's a beautiful voice. He's a wonderful musician. I'm a giant fan. He's written some of the best music in his time. I think Supertramp will go down as one of the most underrated bands of all time. We have almost every one of their records, and they are like you could just put them on one after the other and just enjoy the fuck out of them. And yeah, maybe there's a few skips, but very few skips. And a lot of these guys, a lot of musicians kind of compare these two, which is Roger Hodgins, who lives, and now the deceased
Rick Davies.
Rick Davies, as sort of a Lennon and McCartney thing. Rick Davies was this, jazzy, bluesy guy. He could just grind out a song in this like really, and he had this like drive and rock and pound to him.
Some of their songs are so metal, but they never get like higher tempo than just like
90 beats a minute or something, or a second. Yeah.
They're just but you're listening to it and you're just like, I want to kick something.
So.
Crime of the Century, I think, is my favorite. Breakfast in America is a very close second.
Yeah. I mean, I have so many. Well, so look, all I can say is that it's a sad day for music. One of the greats is gone, and one of the most underrated guys is gone. And the only way now to truly enjoy them is to, find their records on whatever streaming platform. But if you're a vinyl guy like we are, if you're into spinning records, man, get a couple of these ones. Breakfast in America, Crime of the Century are the easy pickings, but you can go deep into their discography, all the early stuff, pre their breakup, which I think was 83 or 84 or 85, something like that. And then Rick Davies kind of did his own thing with the band for a while, which was very jazzy and bluesy, and it kind of like, because it is, you can hear the difference in the two when you listen to the post Roger Hodgins era. It's just like Pink Floyd. If you listen to Pink Floyd, which is, when it's Waters Gilmore versus just versus just Gilmore, like Delicate Sound of Thunder, right?
Yeah, right.
Which is a great record, but very different than Wish You Were Here, which is even, very, anyway. I digress.
They're kind of comparable too, like Supertramp and Pink Floyd have a lot of similarities to me.
They do.
I feel like they're in the same family of rock.
Dude, we were listening to it today because we heard of his death. We were listening to it in the car today, and then you ran in to do your thing. And while you were in there, the record that we were listening to played out in YouTube Music, threw on the very next song, Pink Floyd.
Oh yeah, great.
It's a they're a progressive. They were a progressive rock band for sure.
Is that the genre prog rock?
It's prog, yeah. But it's not like Rush prog. It's it's just great fusions.
Supremely listenable.
Yeah, I love it.
More listenable than a lot of those other groups.
A friend of mine created this idea of Planet Music, and then when all the greats died, they go to Planet Music, and so so one more has ascended to the great, and that's interesting when you think about, I told you about the UAP whistleblower who says that what we're going to learn is that God is Earth and that gods are real and they're planets. This is what apparently a whistleblower. So Planet Music, feels like even more beautiful.
Yeah.
As a concept. But I love the idea that, you remember those Boulevard of Broken Dreams and shit like that? Those I don't know if they were felts or paintings or whatever they were of like all the dead greats, the legends sitting at the cafe smoking cigarette.
Yeah, there's a bunch of murals like that in Los Angeles.
So Rick gets his seat at one now. Anyway, good night, Rick. 81 years old. So,
yeah, he was suffering from some form of like bone cancer for like 10 years.
Yeah, battled a long time, but he played all the way until 2022. And look, they split up and it was ugly.
It was an ugly breakup.
Very ugly. They did not like each other till his last breath, and a lot of people, say that
they being
Davies
the two
was a kind of dicky kind of guy.
It was like the two front men were like you said, Lennon and McCartney.
Yeah.
And so their breakup was like as if the Beatles had broken up. Like just
I think it
those
was
two guys?
even worse than that. Yeah. Anyway, they're dead and gone. He's dead and gone. But his
did they
music
ever
will last
reconcile?
forever. Never. No, not till his last breath. Not that I'm aware. I wanted them for my whole life because I didn't, when I discovered them, they had already broken up. And so for my whole life, all I ever wanted to do was be in the same stadium, arena, or whatever as that.
But they
band.
didn't perform together, right? After they.
I'm not aware that they did.
So what he was performing, you said in 2022.
Yeah, as Rick and the Rockets.
Rick and the Rockets?
Ricky and the Rockets, I think it is. Ricky and the Rockets. I actually checked out a couple of Ricky and the Rockets clips, and man, he's just fucking great. The guy's just amazing. He just rolls out on that piano, and he just does some amazing shit. Absolutely adore him. I don't care if he was the asshole of the band or not. He was a fucking genius. As long as he didn't harm anybody, he's good in my book.
So sad.
R.I.P. Rick Davies. Give him a listen. You won't regret it.
Yeah, like a whole, like the album, not,
for sure.
You don't want to shuffle. You want the experience.
And it's definitely like you want to have like this in mind as you're going into it. If you're going into it like I want to relax, and it's not like it's like Angela said, it's not up tempo stuff. It's just. But
it fucking
hard.
rocks, bro.
It just goes hard.
It's so satisfying.
It's fucking great, man. You know the song "Bloody Well Right." You guys know all that, right? You bloody well right. You know you got a right to say that stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's off that record. It's the opening track, I think. All right, what's next?
So sad.
Perez Hilton. So Perez Hilton, he came out of the court celebrating, thinking the judge was on his side because the judge had looked over his privilege logs. The judge ordered privilege logs to be reviewed, which I guess is standard. And so he provided them. Redacted were all the names, email addresses, contact information. And so when he handed it to the judge was like, thank you for this. It's incomplete. I'm going to need phone numbers and web addresses and actual names of all these people. And he redacted them. So it was, he came out all puffy chest and said, he's beating up on Blake Lively until he realized that the judge had asked him to disclose under seal. So it'd be for the court size only.
Yeah.
But the judge has said, I need
to see this stuff.
Yeah. So now he's objected. Perez Hilton has objected.
Really?
Yes.
To the judge seeing it?
To the judge seeing the names. He's saying he wants to write the names down as codes. He wants to provide the judge with code names. Of course, the judge is not going to fucking buy that because the whole question is whether or not he's been working specifically with the likes of these publicists.
He's like, no, you cannot modify documentary evidence. No, bro.
So that's why he started, kind of begging publicly for a pro bono lawyer. I'm told, and I say I'm told, I've read through absolutely unverifiable sources that Perez takes down $1 million a year. He's just like a fucking Andy Signor there begging for money for their attorney's fees when they go and get themselves in this kind of trouble.
Yeah, well, he's probably not living within, the kind of means where you can afford a lawsuit,
Well, I mean, you can, if you've got $1 million, you probably can afford, look, I don't care. Fuck you, you idiot.
Play stupid games, win stupid
hey,
prizes.
Man, you know what? You held on to the firecracker for too long, buddy. Now you got no fingers.
What would happen with us is if we got fucking subpoenaed as a non-party in a lawsuit, I would just provide all of our fucking
whatever
messages.
you need. I mean, fucking whatever you need.
I wouldn't be fucking fighting about it. I wouldn't be like filing fucking.
Yeah.
Like.
If there was reason
letters.
to object to something, I would obviously, but but yeah, I mean, if and again, this is like, well, I think there's there's probably a certain amount of fear about being implicated.
I don't think that he'll be very happy with a lawyer because I assume a lawyer is going to tell him to shut up about it. I think a lawyer is going to be like, okay, well, you need to tell me exactly what's going on. And if you are involved in this, then you need to comply. And you also should cease reporting on this case at all. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't a lawyer be like, for your protection, you should probably quit it, you know? And that's not silencing. That's like, that's prudent, right? Like that's how a person who is worried about whether they can be involved in litigation protects themselves from it. You know, he doesn't have a horse in this race. He doesn't need to fucking keep reporting.
It's interesting because, you know, when we got is his name Greg Norman?
Who? Shane Norman.
Shane Norman, thank you. When we got, we were on TikTok at the time. We had begun doing our podcast on TikTok. And, you know, I guess on TikTok, we were getting like hundreds of people at a time during our height there. Yeah. And only moved because they were so restrictive. And, you know, now we're trying to find our audience here on YouTube. But we had like, you know, a decent following. It turns out, like, for example, I was in contact with like ex-patriarch. I reached out to him for something, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was the Dale Wheatley." And I've had that like 2 or 3 times in my life, because sometimes people think because I work with Leonardo DiCaprio that puts me in some kind of status, and it's very uncomfortable, frankly. And so when he said that, I was immediately uncomfortable, because I thought, oh, you know, believe me, it's been a dubious existence working with Leonardo DiCaprio, was the first thing that was like loading up in my mind as a response. But then what he said was, "You're the guy who did the slow dance video and in your lives." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, a bunch of us tune into your lives because you really help us understand the perspective of a filmmaker.
Yeah.
So maybe what was going on set. I help make sense of what's going on set."
Yeah, it's true. I feel so much more confident talking about this case with you in my pocket, you know?
Yeah, because there was so much garbage.
You're so informative.
Well, there was just so much garbage going on, and like the wardrobe bullshit.
Yeah, it doesn't make any fucking sense if you know anything about filmmaking.
You know?
Yeah, well, especially and his
I don't know
beef.
Where I was going with that.
His beef with Sony too. It's like, bro, so Justin Baldoni's never heard of a director's cut. Like, Justin Baldoni's never heard of directors being in conflict with the studio about what the theatrical cut is going to be.
There's so much interesting stuff going on there, because somebody that I think you were arguing with, actually wasn't me, but somebody pointed out that a statement where a Sony executive said to Jamie Heath or to someone confirming that Baldoni had, or that Wayfarer had the cut, that they had the cut, and that Sony was merely a distributor and investor in the film.
That's right.
So it's interesting because...
What changed?
Well, something changed.
Something changed.
And what's most interesting about that is we've always talked about why the fuck aren't you suing Sony? Mm-hmm. How is Sony being absolutely like completely off your radar when there was only one potential conspirator co-conspirator, and she needed one. She had to have one.
If the fact that Blake Lively led a different edit for Sony is such a scandal, then Sony must also be implicated in that crime. Sony must also be sued.
It gets deeper, right? If in fact he did have this clause in his contract that gave him some kind of director's cut.
I don't know if it was the context of that text message that is in his Baldoni's evidence, was that some Sony executive, because he won't name them, was clarifying that Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer has the final cut, and that Sony is just the investor and the distributor.
Yeah, right. So,
but that means that something must have changed. And so, if we're seeing that evidence, then that means that he could have shown the court that evidence in a lawsuit against Sony for breach of contract, right? Because here a Sony executive is explaining to him that he does have final cut, and if he hates so much that Blake Lively took away his final cut or whatever the fuck he wants to allege, then there it is right there. That's his proof. But he didn't sue Sony. Blake Lively's not responsible for that message.
Yeah, I mean, something's not right about it. Like, if he had final cut, he certainly would have sued Sony or would have had a basis for suing Sony if they, not only, went back on their word on that, but then locked him out of the cut with his co-star and then eventual producer, right? Because she was eventually...
Something must have happened. We're not seeing all of the
evidence. But remember the text, right? The text was, so let me get this straight. The editor said, per Sony...
Yes. So Justin Baldoni asked his editors, why am I being excluded from the cut? And the editor's response was, per Sony.
And then Justin Baldoni's response, so let me get this straight. The actress in my movie.
He immediately scapegoats Blake Lively for a decision that is Sony's. Immediately.
It gets really deep when you think about Sony. If he had a cut, then it doesn't make any sense that he didn't sue them. The only entity to sue in this situation is Sony.
It must mean that all of his complaints are fake. Because if he had any of those complaints that he has against Blake Lively, they must also be complaints against Sony. He would have to sue Sony. And since he didn't, it might mean that he's either, scapegoating, right? Or his complaints don't exist. And he just came up with them specifically for this retaliatory lawsuit.
Yeah. Well,
and this is what I'm
regarding the
suspecting.
cut though, there's only two, I'm trying to build a scenario for the cut to exist. Where he has some kind of cut rights and like final cut rights. And because if he had them, I don't understand why he would let them go. He had them. He could have just kicked her out then and Sony would have backed him. And what's weird about that is before you interrupt here is that Sony had his back when it came to the producer credit in the beginning. When Blake Lively said, I want a producer credit, Sony deferred with Wayfair on that credit and granting her that credit. When Blake Lively came to Sony and said, hey, I'm being harassed and there's trouble on the set, Sony said, you got to take it up with them. It's their business.
Yeah, and in that text message, it says it's a Sony executive or some Sony producer or whatever telling Wayfair, yes, you have final cut. We're only going to invest and distribute. So I believe what changed was that they saw the film.
Well, there's only two. Well, there's only two scenarios that make sense. Though I'm not talking about that because I can understand why they have a change in opinion. I'm trying to figure out where they're able to get a hold of the cut and keep them out of it.
Yeah.
Because that's like a fucking major move. It's not a small move in Hollywood. If you have cut rights, that's a major fucking move.
Yeah. Well, it might be that Sony. Are you okay?
Yeah.
It might be that Sony executive or whoever said that is not referencing a contract, just an understanding. It might be that their contract says something completely different.
Well, that's one scenario. Another scenario is that they had a cut that they had to deliver. So this was prior to delivery. So in other words, they might have potentially had a clause that allowed them that they had a certain amount of control over the cut that got to Sony. And then Sony got to decide on the cut after that. So
it must be the case because I don't believe you were saying he's not fucking Scorsese, right? He's not Spielberg. There's no reason why Sony would, from the very beginning, before they've even seen anything that Justin Baldoni is creating, that they would just like guarantee that he has final cut and that's what's going to get released theatrically. There's no way they would go with that.
Especially with a guy who's only got one directing credit under his belt.
There's just no way that they had that sort of provision. Sony is going to decide what Sony releases.
Well, I mean, buying, financing the movie, and they were putting $26 million. So financing the movie certainly gives you some leverage, but that's wild. A scientist said that maybe Baldoni was trying to include footage that wasn't covered by the nudity rider, and I think it's more. I mean, that while that might be technically true, that wouldn't be the reason why Sony would leave it out at all.
This is my suspicion.
But they wouldn't leave it out because of that wouldn't happen. Like 100%, Sony would not leave it out because of the nudity rider. If it's on film and they want to use it, they're going to use it unless there's an objection by the talent itself, and then they would deal with that. But that wouldn't be it. But if they didn't like what they saw, then they would.
This is my suspicion.
So if they saw, for example, the gasp,
the young Lily, explicit,
right? So they might go like, "That's not going to fucking fly.
Yeah.
That's going to turn off mothers. That's going to, it's going to interfere with the market that they're targeting." If that's the case, then they would certainly.
What in the male gaze is this?
What in the male gaze is this? They would certainly, but all kidding aside, they would be like, "Hey, listen, that's not going to work, bro. Like, we can't have that."
Right.
And where director's cuts eventually become a thing is when that difference of opinion cannot be resolved on either side. That's when the studio says, all right, fine. And they usually bring in another editor, and they usually pair up with a producer or have to bring in a new producer to produce a new cut. This is not new in Hollywood. This is old. That's old school Hollywood. And the directors usually have a deadline to return a cut to the studio, and then from there, the studio will decide the fate of that cut.
I am very convinced that there is missing evidence from Baldoni's side where he is tracking and providing evidence of text messages between Sony executives and Heath and regarding Blake Lively around the editing. There's so much that's missing because how did they... So if his editors are saying it's per Sony, where are the Sony's messages where he or Heath are like reaching out being like, hey, what gives with this Lively situation? What's going on? Like they would be in talks. They would be talking to each other. None of them are interested in getting into litigation about this. So I think that Justin Baldoni is purposefully withholding the conversations that he and his producers had with Sony that cleared all of this up, because he is specifically invested in scapegoating Blake Lively for everything he can say was wrongdoing. In creative disputes he had with Sony, if he doesn't like how it went, then it's Blake Lively's fault.
I wonder if if Sony, when this thing started, when the trouble started, I wonder if they just made themselves clear to both sides. They're like, you don't want us in this. Don't drag us in this. Like, it's just so interesting because Blake Lively also doesn't have fuck all to do with Sony. Like,
well, you know that Sony's capable of doing that because we have the message where Sony is telling Heath, you are going to fuck up the release of this film. You are not playing ball.
They speak very harshly.
Good luck, they said.
Good
to him.
luck.
So you know that they're willing to talk sternly to the producers of Wayfarer.
If I ever got that,
I would shrink so small, I'd be pocket sized.
Studio executive.
Oh my God.
I would be really fucking upset.
God.
It's a very peculiar situation.
Yes. Can I tell you about this chat?
Yeah.
Guilty Angel said, I feel like Baldoni is the type of guy who siphons energy like an energy vampire. Baldoni wanted to destiny swap with Blake 100%.
I think so, but I think that I don't know if he's I wonder if he's like a vampire or like a guy who just kind of sponges it up, like soaks it all up and then kind of just steals all the energy in the room.
I don't know if I feel that way about him. This destiny swap thing is interesting. I don't know. I don't know how paranormal that description is. I like it though.
Was that what people describe, like in my book? I talk about
yes, that's destiny swapping.
Being Leonardo DiCaprio's sadness.
Yeah, that you are the vessel for his sadness because his life is so great that there's no room for any sadness. It has to come through into this world through you. You're the vessel. You're the vector. You're the conduit.
Damn it all to hell!
But there's also there could be a reversal where he could be the conduit for your sadness once your life goes on the up.
Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your follows or subscriptions, subs. Thanks for the subs. I still got to get used to this because it's not followers. I don't like followers anyway.
Yeah.
Right. I'm fucking wearing some kind of weird robe and.
Like you're in a cult.
Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for coming. This live is brought to you by Too Real, a Hollywood memoir written by Dale Wheatley. Get your copy today.
Guilty Angel said $400 million lawsuit and then like face smack emoji. Whole idiot, if you will.
Dude, when they came out with that number, I of course laughed out loud.
I know, and they don't even quantify it either. Like there's no like no explanation for how they came up with $400 million.
They literally had like the
here.
Smurf thing was the only thing they could potentially bring up as a potential loss.
Smurf thing?
Wasn't he directing a Smurf movie or something?
Oh no, it was Pac-Man, Dale.
Oh, it was Pac-Man. Much better. Much better. You know what the Pac-Man money? You know why that's so funny? Because of the fucking Kool-Aid Man on the studio.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like it's just like you'd think you'd think that would be the dumb idea for the studio.
Well, also because they said Wayfarer's like whole mission was to, like, bring a human experience stories, whatever. And then they're like, we greenlit Pac-Man. Anyway, a scientist said, I maintain that that Baldoni's complaint did more to convince me he was guilty of as fuck than anything Lively's team has released.
Yeah.
Sorry, I butchered that.
Yeah, you did butcher that, but you still got it through, and it is, to me, perfectly accurate. Their own website, proved her case.
Yep.
Beyond doubt.
Yeah.
Beyond any doubt.
I know.
In my view.
I also was really impressed that they couldn't find a single statement by Blake Lively that was even harsh, much less threatening or extortionate or any of these other things that they claim that she did. She's not even mean. And like, I would be mean for sure. Several times. It would be in writing. Our Scientist said the smear campaign has been particularly lazy recently.
That's interesting. I suppose
It
I
might
don't
be
know.
because Brian Friedman's in trouble.
Yeah, I think if anything, that's why I'm talking about. That's why I wanted to bring up this whole Ryan Reynolds smear campaign, because smearing Blake Lively is
Getting them in trouble.
Is getting them in trouble. But Ryan Reynolds isn't party to the case.
I know, and didn't you notice?
Especially now that his case got thrown out. Now there's no. He's not party to the case.
And that TikToker that you played, she started out saying Taylor Swift is ungodmothering herself, which is like absolute bullshit.
Such garbage.
But it just shows that person, that's the space that she's in. She's existing in this space where she believes that Taylor Swift has beef with Blake Lively because she's been told that specifically. It's documented as part of their plan by Baldoni's publicists.
It really does fascinate me how confident people talk about the shit that they know nothing about. It blows my mind.
Fellbaumling said, unbelievable that the Baldoni bots are showing up on the John Candy documentary posts. Even Marvel content creators warn of the Baldoni bot army about to invade due to Ryan Reynolds or Deadpool mentions.
I heard that.
What's the consequences for them fucking up all of these other properties?
I don't know, but it's bad. Like
it's
all
bad.
You know what? I think this is a great question, and I've been thinking a lot about it. I really think that the real detriment here, in terms of the industry, is to the PR field. I think Blake Lively is shaking up the PR world in a way that we can't even see. And the reason is because now, especially with this, the deeper this probe gets, if, for example, what's his name? Perez Hilton does in fact have to provide these things to the judge. They don't, nobody in Hollywood wants judges to see anything.
No,
they don't want anybody to see anything.
That's right.
Especially when it comes to their underhanded, sort of
they're like,
shit.
Keep my name secret. Keep my name out of all of this stuff.
So I think that the big crater in the ground here is going to be in the PR field, and I think that that's going to change the landscape for how this is all handled, because what we have right now is something that has spun completely out of control.
Meanwhile,
and we can't discern the difference between what's being planted and what's being generated organically out of the hate sort of pool that originated, through this
the hate pool
crisis effort. Yeah, hate pool. Did I say that?
Yeah.
Sometimes I come up with the words.
Meanwhile, Stephanie Jones is sitting pretty because she told her clients not to work with Melissa Nathan. She was like,
and now you have this other lawsuit, right, with Melissa Nathan. And so it's just, to me, this it's like a dominoes thing where this like really aggressive, hyper aggressive, and slanderous PR tactic that uses so-called creators, influencers as puppets, because they're all just fucking like, I would love to make money at this. That would be cool. But that's not why I'm here. Do you know what I mean? I'm actually here to promote Too Real, a Hollywood memoir. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's really what I'm here to do. I'm actually trying to promote a career that's bloody got a fucking big old Hollywood boot on its neck.
yeah.
These other guys, they're just, it's all about money and, and or fame, because they think there's some kind of fucking good thing about being famous. I love the fame that Andy Signor has earned. Like, for example, I had no idea that he sent a tape of himself playing with himself, taking care of himself, to a coworker. I had no idea that he did that until this happened. He had successfully...
Was it a coworker? I didn't know.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
and
I don't know who he sent that to.
It was to a coworker, and...
how do you think it got public, though?
She filed a complaint.
Really?
Yeah, she filed a complaint.
He says that it was hacked or something.
He said that's how he got hold of the tape, that it was a hack.
Yeah.
That's how they got hold of the tape. But she filed a complaint and said that it was non-consensual.
Oh my God.
So, but whether it was consensual or not, I mean, that's fucking dark shit in my opinion. Like, hey, the guy's married, and like, I didn't watch the tape because I would never, but I did see a screenshot
talking about it.
Ex-patriarch put up, and he's got this like evil look on his face, like predator look.
Yeah, it's frustrating because I don't feel comfortable talking about it because it's so his explanation for it is like bad. Like, he says that he got hacked, and that would be horrible. So that would be like revenge porn or something, right?
Yeah.
But all that I know about it is what Andy Signor himself has said about it. And so it is kind of like a tricky situation where I'm like, okay, well, do you want people to talk about it?
Yeah. I mean, the point obviously being like, I cannot believe that these guys are exposing themselves in the way that they're exposing themselves for, pun intended, maybe, for the likes of, somebody they don't know, somebody. So there's got to be some kind of benefit.
Oh, you're talking about like legal exposure for the likes of Justin fucking Baldoni. Justin Baldoni's not going to do anything for these people.
They're creating.
He's not going to be able to do anything for these people because he's not going to have a career at the end of this. I don't know what they're doing it for.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for him. It's for the publicists. They're being fed money. They're being fed.
Yeah, but you think Melissa Nathan's going to have a career after this too?
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's all blowing up right in their faces.
I know.
They just totally got self-owned.
I know. I would jump ship if I was them. That's fucking crazy.
A long time ago. Well, I wouldn't have gotten on the stupid ship in the first place because why wouldn't you want to fucking like try to treat people organically? I just don't understand participating in something that is obviously not fucking true.
I know, like Zach Peter was mentioned in text messages from Jed Wallace saying, "I love Zach Peter."
Love me some Zach Peter.
And he was so happy about it. I was like, bro, that's like a bad look.
Dude,
like this is a guy who does astroturfing and he likes you. That looks bad on you, dude.
I wrote this. I've been writing this movie called Buried in This Town. It's actually like a story. It started as a movie. It's probably going to be a book.
I love that story. I want you to finish it.
I just got distracted because somebody just said, King DiCaprio said your book was really good. Thank you so much. It was quite inspiring to me. Well, it's very kind of you to say. Well, you're kindly DiCaprio, so that's fine.
I want to hear what you were going to say.
Yeah, what was I going to say? I apologize.
Buried in This Town is a story you're writing.
Oh, and in it, oh, God, I'm sorry. Let's see if it'll come back. I apologize. I got distracted from compliments.
Don't get distracted.
Well, people are complimentary, and it's hard not to be. It's very kind of
Delicatessen was saying you said that Blake Lively has a foot and mouth disease,
Yes.
Where she is constantly saying things that maybe she's
giving them sound bites.
She is giving them sound bites.
On a regular basis.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the sound bites are from like ancient history that they dig up before she was in a smear campaign.
I mean, she just recently said, that she didn't personally know about any smear campaign, right? It's like a really easy way to answer that question because you could just reframe that question.
Right.
So he says like, do you have any personal knowledge? I have a personal experience. Yeah, I'm personally
Well, that's the thing. It was such a small snippet. She probably answered that the first time. That was on the last page.
You gotta like cut it off.
But everybody's just sharing like one line. So Delicatessen said, I don't think that she is putting her... What?
Because it's delicate and it's
okay, but
funny.
let me read the comment.
Yeah.
I don't think she's putting her foot in her mouth. I think her words are just purposefully misunderstood.
Well, sure, but like the caution, that's not... You're right, but you're literally trained in Hollywood to not do that. Like you sit down and you're like, don't give them the sound bites.
Yeah.
The idea is to try and be able to talk yourself out of getting, clipped in phrases that make you look bad or make you look like a bigot or make you, because there's a million ways to step on yourself. Like I had to go through, part of the reasons why I did not go to the Berlin Film Festival was because our lawyers were like, dude, if you slip up, it'll cost you. And we thought, at this point, it looked like I was going to make some decent money because it looked like our projections were coming in at between $9 and $10 million for Downs Plum with Japan, which we already had locked in at 2.1 or 2.2 million. So we were like sailing. It was like, okay, well, we lost North America, but I was going to make a chunk of change.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to pull together $2 or $3 million. We're going to make another movie for $500,000 or so. Like we had a situation worth protecting. And so our lawyers were like, open your mouth, you'll lose it. So I didn't even go to the Berlin Film Festival to see my movie premiere, a movie that I had to fight for legally for years, a movie that pretty much cost me everything to make.
Why couldn't you just avoid having a microphone in your face? Why couldn't you just avoid the press?
They said specifically it's not just the press. If you're at a party and you say something at a party to somebody overhears that, or the person to whom you spoke is going to go and run to them. They're like, you say the wrong thing to the wrong person because that would constitute you spreading false. They would try to,
I would have.
So
I mean, you could be careful.
Yeah, that was their.
You didn't give yourself enough credit for.
Hey, I went to Rome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
I got to I got to stand before
pretty sweet.
Leonardo da Vinci originals and Michelangelo originals and Bernini in the streets, man. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest sculptures ever.
That's better than being stressed.
So I had a great time.
A scientist was saying one of the exhibits may be from this witness's deposition. From the motion, it's to support the claims about Sarowitz. That's what I thought too. It's so redacted you can't tell whether that, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The declaration it's like heavily redacted. And there's two separate parts on that like single page of a declaration where there's like almost 3 whole lines redacted. It's got to be about the direct quote from Sarowitz. This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell, obviously. That's just me. That's my tinfoil hat is on real tight.
You got it on.
But Blake Lively quoted in her amended complaint, in her first complaint too, but quoted Steve Sarowitz saying $100 million that she's going to bury them. There's going to be 2 dead bodies, all of that shit. And those were quotes. So she knows that from somebody who heard, and it said that somebody who was at the premiere heard Steve Sarowitz say it at the premiere. That's how early that happened. Because remember, they were already engaged with their crisis PR for a couple weeks by then.
There's so much two-facedness.
I know.
Just fucking underhanded double.
Imagine being there at your premiere, like it's a super celebratory time where everybody's like, you know, feeling really good and still being like vengeful. The fuck, these guys are nuts.
Jennifer Ann says that I have ADHD. She said I say that as somebody with ADHD. I think I got so many things. I don't know. I mean, it
Dale's
could be
like,
that.
pick a card, any card.
Pick a card, any card. It could be that. You know, I just got past severe depression, and that broke me in so many different ways. Like coming out of it.
Really?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You don't feel better?
I do, but I don't feel like
you said it broke you.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever. You know, I'll never be the same as I was before I entered into that deep depression. You know what? And I didn't even know that it began 30 years ago. I had no idea. I knew I was depressed 30 years ago. I didn't realize that I'd actually fallen into an actual condition of depression until later in life when I started having the ideation and the real dangerous stuff. And I was like, oh, fuck, this is a problem. Like, this is like a very bad problem. And then coming out of that, you know, yeah, I don't feel like I'm the same guy.
The super fascinating thing about Dale's like ADHD is that you're kind of like, you're on the spectrum of like the savant side. Your ability to focus and get creative work done is astounding.
Yeah, I mean, I write books and make movies, so.
But like, it's so interesting how your focus is so flighty when you're not in that focused creative mode. It's just really interesting.
Jennifer's calling it a superpower. She's like, ADHD is a superpower.
Yeah, it's a super, and you've figured out how to harness it.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I do. I get, you know, I'm having anxiety today, so I think that's on display a little bit. Like everything's clenched.
Yeah, Mercury's in Virgo right now.
I'm just definitely struggling, a little sweaty.
Everybody's all buzzy.
Yeah.
It's also that the eclipse was yesterday too, so that's like super big, like energy burst.
I'm nervous. You know, it's Leo season. It's now upon us.
Leo season, meaning the season where a DiCaprio movie comes out, and then promotions involving DiCaprio are everywhere, and everyone's always talking about his past films, and everything is all DiCaprio wall to wall. Yeah,
and so when Leo season happens, I go into a general sense of anxiety that is, I've recognized has, whenever I know he has a movie coming out, if it's a major release, it wasn't so bad when he had that one on Netflix that just got streaming only. The environmental one, you know, because he's such an important environmentalist.
Environmental one.
He did the environmentalist one with what's his name? The guy who did Joker. Jennifer Lawrence and all those people were in.
Oh, right. Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up.
Right. I thought that was in the movie theaters.
I don't remember it being in the movie theaters.
I thought you were talking about Killers of the Flower Moon, because he was in that, and that wasn't a very intense Leo season.
It wasn't, no, because he was kind of panned Jennifer said that the trouble with ADHD is you can't hyperfocus on the things that you don't want, and that's so fucking true. In fact, I break down doing that. Like I fall apart. it can take me forever to do one thing I
Yeah.
don't like.
Right.
Something I love, I can just, like editing is, I love editing and I hate it. You know what? You know how I love editing? Sitting behind the editor. I love sitting behind
You're
the
talking about
editor.
video editing?
Film, yes.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yes, nonlinear.
Yeah, you like to direct it.
I like to direct it. I'm a good editor. I can
Yeah,
cut
you're
well.
excellent.
I can cut well. I'm gonna actually show you something I cut. But I tried to show you guys the other day and I couldn't play it. I'm gonna play it for you tonight
Why?
because I want them to see it. You got a fucking problem with
Well, it
that?
just seems like a replay.
You know
for
what I'm gonna
everybody.
need you to do? No, it's okay. Actually, Jennifer probably never saw it. So how about that? Our scientists never probably saw it. So how about that? What about that? And nobody got to see it cut, and it's fun, and I didn't get to publish it yet, so I'm gonna show it to my friends. And you know what you're gonna do? Put on the popcorn pot while I do
Oh,
it.
sweet.
So but I'll tell you when to go. Okay? I'm gonna play this guys now because I can. Let me go to do not. Oh, it's over here, isn't it? Content. I'm going to play for you guys this video that I made of one of our lives. It's very short. Let me just verify that.
Are you doing that now?
I will in a minute. I just want to verify that I can get the sound quiet. You can't hear that, can you?
I can hear in here, and it's not coming through. But I heard the last video that you played.
Isn't that so strange? I wonder why.
That's what happened the last time you tried to play this.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. But I can tell you in my headphones.
That it's not playing.
I also don't know why you want to do this. I'm curious. You haven't articulated what the reason is.
Okay, go put the pot on. Let me, okay, I guess I can't play it for you. I don't know why. It's so strange. I want to show these guys one of the cuts. I don't know why you object to it. You know what? While you can't figure out why I want to, I can't figure out why you object to it in any way. I don't understand that for the life of me. But I want to show it because I think it's a fun cut, and I think they'll enjoy it. That's why I want to show it to them.
Don't divorce me over it.
I'm going to. I got to get a lawyer. I got to lawyer up. God, everything was going so well, and then you called into question my intentions.
The chat has been so vibrant tonight. You guys have been really amazing.
Yeah, let's keep it going. Why don't you go put the pot on,
Well, I can't do both.
and then we'll continue with the chat. I'll pick up. I'll pick up.
Do you see there's a bunch of purples? Oh, okay. Never mind. That's not very good direction. Do you see where Damon Child said that Dale dressed like an off-duty Blackwater mercenary?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I left off. Okay?
Dale,
Do you see where
just
that
like
is?
Yeah, okay. And delicatessens, that's all hearsay.
Yeah,
I'm not dressed like that.
that's perfect. Okay.
One of the exhibits. Oh, yeah, I guess I could.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put on the pot. I'll be right back.
Do it. Let me. Sorry, guys. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Okay, where was this? It's you guys said one of the exhibits may be from the witness deposition from the motion to support claims about Sarowitz. Oh, I don't know what that is exactly. Apologies.
Yo, is it medium or between medium and medium high?
Between medium and medium high.
Okay, gotcha.
You coming back?
Yes, I'm coming back.
Sweet.
I did it.
Yes, you did.
Was it just been dead air since I left?
No. You're like, you can't do it without me.
Dale likes to preheat his popcorn pot.
Yes, I do. Okay, great. Well, I'll just let you pick up because I got nowhere.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not usually that bad. I want to show you. See, Shannon wants to see it, and I want to show it to her. Damn it! I don't understand why I can't get audio. That doesn't make
figure it
any
out.
sense. Maybe it's because of this. Oh, maybe this is it. Hang on.
I am Bobo said,
Ah, yeah. Okay, good. Here we go. I'm gonna show it to you now. Great. This is awesome. Let me set it up. All right. And auto. And play.
I am Bobo said, wish people would who've been following this case would leave the case away from Taylor and the new album. Taylor only cares about her new album. It's true. She's not involved in this.
Listen to me. I'll buy into that right now. I'll respect it all the way. You know, I mean, with those titles and this controversy, there's no getting away from it.
She knows it, too.
Yeah, she fucking knows it. Complete. She knew it then.
She could have renamed those tracks.
Because there's no way she didn't know in May, between May and August, that this shit was going on. So I don't know who Travis is. Delicate says the book's about, or the album's about Travis.
You don't know who Travis is?
No. The only Travis when you say Travis, I think about the guy who got sucked up by a spaceship. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You don't think that there's a guy named Travis in Taylor Swift's life that maybe she could have written a song about?
Oh yeah, sure. No, I just don't know who he is. I mean, of course. Yeah. Oh, Travis.
I was so confused.
That Travis.
I was like, you mean you don't know who he is? Like he's a celebrity and so he hasn't revealed his authentic self? Or you don't know who I'm talking about?
Why would cancel be about her and Travis? Ain't nobody getting canceled over her and Travis.
You're going to have to wait until the album comes out and then you're going to be able to read the lyrics and find out what she means.
I feel like somebody snatched my brain for a moment and took it away from me and abandoned me in the middle of a live. Travis Kelce.
Because she lives alone in your heart, so you're not thinking about all of her associates.
Well, to me, there's only one Kelce, and his name is Jason. He was the greatest center to ever play in the NFL. He played for the greatest football team ever to take the field, the Philadelphia Eagles. I heard he has a brother. It comes up every now and again. But I forget that. Because of the greatness of Jason.
Yeah. He's like.
And by the way, it's the goodness of Jason. Like the Kelce brothers are good guys. That's the feeling. That's like the word on the street. That's the feeling you get when you see them for any prolonged period of time on air. Jason is just the tenderest, most beautiful, big, giant, lovable fucking football player of all fucking time. There's just no doubt about it. And there are pictures of him with his little brother, Travis, and you can see, I could almost cry. You could see in his eyes this intense love for his brother. Like it is so sweet because there's a good bit of time between them.
Yeah.
And the sweetness in that man's eyes when he looks down at his brother just chokes me up.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you say all these things about him because the only thing I know about him are those videos where he's like dressed in a really goofy costume. Or like he'll wear snap pants and just like strip them off in public with like really bright like Speedo underwear. Just go like stalking
Jason
them.
Kelce.
Yeah, just
well, that's the other thing. He's
for
like,
a joke.
He is he's a guy who brings, just great spirit. He brings joy. He's just one of the great guys. I might get a Jason Kelce tattoo. I might.
Oh my God.
Yeah. On my back. Jason on my back. Maybe on my shoulder. How about a Jason Kelce on my shoulder instead of an angel? What do you think? I'm not going to do that. I would rather get Chewbacca.
Chewbacca.
Yeah.
It would probably look the same.
Yay!
So that was to commemorate the start of football season?
Yes, it was the start of football season. It was just a fun clip.
Yeah. Dale is a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan.
I am indeed.
The biggest Philadelphia Eagles fan I have ever met.
I adopted them in 1994, late 94, into the late 94 season was when I began to reconcile with the fact that I had feelings for them. And, by 95, I was ready to get tattoos. I love them. They're my guys. Anyway.
So
what was fun, obviously, was that I was so fucking incapable of remembering Travis Kelce.
Well, because he plays for another team.
Taylor Swift.
Because he plays for another team, he doesn't matter, right?
Like, I'm a genuine fan. I'm not a Swiftie. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I can forget about Travis Kelce as a human being every now and again, even though I have mad respect for him and mad love for his game. And again, I have a mad amount of love and respect for them as brothers. They're the quintessential brother. They're everything you want in a sibling, in a relationship with siblings, Like they're inseparable. It's beautiful. I wish I had it with my brother, And
it's
so
it's pretty rare.
It's extremely rare. That's
Yeah.
extremely rare to have that. Like they have like a genuine, like I can't stand to be away from you. Like, you know, I haven't seen my brother in 10 years.
Like 2 peas in a pod.
Like that'll
type
never happen in Jason Kelsey's life. The only time that he'll ever be away from his brother for any more than a year will be if one of them has ascended to planet football.
Okay, would you like to hear some of these?
Yes, please.
I liked your edit on that video. I like the pictures that you picked too.
Yeah.
The Travis that got like beamed up by a UFO.
The
That's the only Travis you think of.
Yeah.
Okay, a scientist said one of the exhibits. Oh, okay, cool. I already read this one. From the motion is to support the claims about Sarowitz. That's really interesting. We'll see what happens when that gets unredacted. I don't know if we're gonna find out. Austin is here. Said,
What's up, Austin? I saw you there.
it's like a script that is performed across multiple platforms. What is this about? Featuring characters, plot development, and more. Users capable of galvanizing a digital movement on both sides. What is this in reference
Yeah, I
to?
think he's talking about, they get scripts. Is that what we were talking about?
No. This is so interesting. So Austin started out by saying about the other subreddits, the ones
Yeah.
that we don't visit because they're so pro Baldoni. He said it feels like parasocial theater. Have you heard about this? Parasocial relationships?
Parasocial. Oh,
It's like this dysfunctional thinking that people have where they think they're in a relationship with a celebrity
Yeah.
or they're in a relationship with somebody that
like
they
Annie-
actually don't have any contact
Annie
with.
Wilkes.
Yes, like Annie Wilkes. Yes. It feels like parasocial theater, the anti-survivor subs, which is what Austin calls the pro-Baldoni subs and all the ridiculous subs that they create. He said that it's like a script that's performed across multiple platforms, featuring characters, plot development, and more. Yeah, like this whole Ryan Reynolds is an asshole thing. It's like completely invented out of thin air.
And it's crazy how, you know, when you just string those 4 stories together, and yeah, it's just there's a real constant sort of theme behind it. It's not like, it's like, you know, you hear these isolated things, but they seem to be, they all have the same tone,
Here's the fundamental question.
the same voice.
If Ryan Reynolds is rude to a child on a red carpet at a premiere, does that mean that Justin Baldoni did not sexually harass and then retaliate against Blake Lively?
Yes,
Obviously.
obviously.
I mean, this is what we're talking about here, guys. Can we fucking focus? Jesus
It's the same
Christ.
thing with Blake Lively pulling the rug out from under directors.
Oh,
Her words, by the way.
admitting to doing that in 2022 before she ever worked on Justin Baldoni's
Yeah.
movie, where he says in his own filing that she was completely forthright about wanting to be a producer at the very first meeting.
And she said before going on and signing on to that project, in that Forbes interview, she said very plainly that she no longer goes in with the ambition.
With hidden ambitions.
With hidden
Now
ambitions.
she's forthright about it.
Which is a shitty thing to say in the
I
first
know.
place, because fuck you. Every single dude that shows up on a set has a hidden fucking agenda
I know.
about what he's going to become.
It's a fucking double
And
standard.
if he
for
actually
sure.
achieves that, they would pat him on the back.
No,
They'd be
I know, it's like-
I was one of them.
No, it's like that accusation against you where they were saying that you turned a short into a feature. You're like, I would be a genius of filmmaking.
I would be a fucking genius of filmmaking.
I would be fucking praised.
Somebody just made that stupid comment on Don's Plum the movie. They were like, or they made some like underhanded, like, oh yeah, kind of like, or they said of Justin Baldoni. You know, I actually made a comment. So my Reddit account is known as me, because you know you can click on it and I'm defending Don's Plum. So somebody was like, oh, you mean, well, at least he didn't turn a short into a feature, or promise his friends he was making a short and then turn it into a feature.
Like, you're not thinking. Some people can't turn a short into to a feature.
It would be such an achievement.
If they did, if they did, they'd be fucking lauded.
I've tried to explain this, and I could do it in the simplest way. It's 1 page per minute.
Yeah.
If you have a script for a short film, you have 30 pages. If you shoot 30 pages, there's no way to extend that in post. You can't. If you have a feature film, then you have 185 pages or 120 pages, in which case those would, again, equate to 2 hours. That makes more sense. So the only possible reason we could possibly have made a feature film is because it was either a feature film to begin with, which it wasn't necessarily, or it was experimental in nature and there was no determined length, because there could not be. That is the answer.
It's also like, if you watch Don's Plum, there's something happening every single minute. It's not, none of it's stretched. It's so
No.
strange. This is just the weirdest. People aren't thinking. Jennifer Ann wants to know, do you think the content creators will be brought into the main case and have to go to trial?
Well, I am so curious about it. I don't know, because I don't know to what extent the protections matter, especially as it relates to any potential liability. So I know that every content creator is obviously curious to this question. I'm among them, even though I don't really consider myself a content creator, despite the fact that I'm clearly one. But in any case, I'm very curious about it. I hope there's a certain amount of either culpability or at least something that helps prevent this from continuing, because I'm a victim of it, and I can speak firsthand about its effects on your life, on waking up in the morning and seeing people attacking you. In comments in my own content that I did on TikTok, for example, there were very clearly people, they fit the whole description that was put out early in this trial about these sort of Justin Wallace types that show up with 0 followers, 0 everything.
Jed Wallace
and these combat army people, whatever,
right.
Social combat
is
they
what
all have
call
zeros, they have 0 followers, 0 posts, or whatever, right. And they just show up with these accounts. I was getting all kinds of these, making accusations against me that weren't true, making accusations about the movie that wasn't true. And like some of these accusations they were making about me were like highly offensive, really crazy stuff. So anyway, that's my reason for wanting to be a part of this, but also being able to recognize it out there in the wild.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's the thing is like, I'm mainly driven by the fact that I don't want to be gullible. I find that to be embarrassing. And I don't want, like I said earlier, like Melissa Nathan has documents that she's passing between the Wayfarer parties and her own like inner, her employees at TAG, publicity, agency group, where they're talking about attacking Ryan Reynolds, where they're talking about going on the offensive about him. So like, I just refuse to be a fucking pawn. I don't care what they say about him in the media now. I won't believe it. You know what I mean? Like They've completely turned me off of any of the bad stories about him because I am so averse to being manipulated that I won't even entertain it for a second.
It's really quite incredible. It's more or less for me now, everything to me is publicist fed. So everything I'm reading, I read it with sort of the expectation that I'm going to be able to, at some level, discern from which side this comes.
Yeah.
Whether, and when I say that, I mean, even on things that aren't related to like this case, but just
that's the way you're supposed to be doing it though. It's like, that's what do they call that? Media literacy. That's like intellectual self-defense, right? Like by when the moment that I saw Melissa Nathan's documents saying that she was going to attack Ryan Reynolds or that they were planning to, it inoculated me against attacks from Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Like I won't be tricked by you people because you're tricking people.
Shame on me. Fool me twice.
Jennifer Ann
won't be fooled again.
Jennifer Ann said, I love that Andy Signor thought he was going to be able to pocket that $20K that he crowdfunded after filing the $55 motion MOS. What does that stand for?
Yeah, I don't know.
Now he'll have to use all of it and gasp some of his own money.
Yeah, no, I
didn't know anything about this. I don't follow him anymore. I don't know what he's talking about anymore.
Yeah, well, I knew.
So he's upset that he couldn't just pocket his.
It became publicized that he, was raising money off of it, and I guess he thought that he would be able to, with his 501c3, be able to just use that money for whatever. Because
that's another
he
thing
didn't need $20,000 to file his declaration. His declaration was a few $1,000s, and this guy is pulling down like significant 6 figures from advertising on his channel. If you go and there's like these like estimation tools out there, so you can put in the subscribers, and then they look at the data of the actual activity on the site, and then they estimate the amount of earnings. And it's estimated that Andy Signor's channel is pulling down $500,000 or more just in ads. So even if that's wrong and it's 70% of that, and he's pulling down, $350,000, what's he fucking begging for money for?
Well, he's allowed to do it, so whatever. It's like if a bunch of fucking idiots want to waste their money on Andy Signor, they can.
Well, if Leo sues me, I'll be begging for money. I promise you that.
But you don't have yours is a different story. A Scientist said there's hints inside Baldoni's Exhibit A that he never actually finished his cut. According to Baldoni, this is how he describes the reason why there was a test audience.
Yeah.
You know, there's like everybody's always talking about how his cut scored higher.
Yeah.
According to Baldoni, he describes that the reason why there was a test audience at all was it was supposed to enable him to finish his cut. It didn't have anything to do with whether Sony was going to make a decision based on the test audience whatsoever. So a lot of people are claiming that because Justin Baldoni's cut scored higher, that means that Sony was obligated to put his cut out as a theatrical release. But according to Baldoni, the way that he describes that whole scenario, it had nothing to do with what cut was going to make it to the theatrical release. It was only about whether he was going to be given more time in the editing bay to complete the cut that the audience saw. And so if he didn't, then maybe I don't know, maybe he dropped it.
Well, it's an interesting thing because finishing his cut. Well, I think he did finish his cut personally.
He should put it out. It'll make a ton of money. Everybody's interested in seeing Baldoni's cut.
They might invite him in and do a director's cut. It's not unusual. It wouldn't be an unusual
Wayfair
thing.
wouldn't just be able to do that.
Well, and not with a distributor behind, not without a distributor behind it. Look, here's the thing, right? Just to kind of touch on that. I think that in all likelihood, if you had a scenario where one cut was testing better than another, and they wanted to go with a cut that was testing less, would be two reasons why a studio would do that. First one would be that they didn't think that where demographically they saw a loss, that it was significant enough that they couldn't overcome it with their marketing. You have to remember that it's about, they have marketing minds, so they understand what that means as an obstacle, as opposed to what, say, maybe a layman might think, which is that, if it tests less or...
the score is higher, so it must mean it's better.
It doesn't mean less box office at all. It doesn't mean that at all. And we know this is true because we know movies like the Minecraft movie went on to become massive successes because they're bad. So it's not about good versus bad. It's all about marketing. It's all about angle. It's all about how you deal with it. They have publicists who are sitting at the wait as a movie takes to the market to see the reaction and then use that reaction, either countering it or trying to sort of oppress that if it's a bad reaction, or really exploiting whatever reaction they're getting the most traffic off of, which is really ultimately what they want, which is just eyeballs, right?
But my point for bringing it up was that this whole connection where people have made the connection between the test screenings and those scores and how Sony determined what was going to be their theatrical cut is a false connection.
Well, I wanted to
Baldoni's not even making that argument.
Well, I just wanted to say that I just want to finish in that, so if the studio is going to pick the cut that they think is going to be the most beneficial for them in the marketing of the campaign of the movie.
Yeah, and
not
test
the one
audience
that's going to
isn't
necessarily test highest.
A test audience isn't going to determine Sony's fucking business choices.
No,
Sony's going to determine their business
now,
choices.
if they did two cuts where one was Justin Baldoni's and it tested, say, through the roof, and then they did another which we'll call Blake Lively's, and that one tested not through the roof. If that one, the Blake Lively's, tested significantly lower, then they would have tried to work more strongly with the Baldoni cut, or they would have taken Lively out of the equation and then put somebody else in there, because Lively would not have delivered what they wanted if they still wanted to stay away from the cut that Baldoni had.
Again, there's so much evidence that's missing. Because here, the situation is, as Justin Baldoni describes it, they did the test audience so that he would get more time with to complete his edit. Well, he won, right? His cut scored higher. So you would think that would mean that he would be able to complete his cut, but it still wasn't the one that was released. So what happened? Well, I think we don't know what happened because he's not telling the story.
Well, the last part of it would be pretty simple, which is that he handed in a cut. They turned it down.
Yeah.
He handed in a cut.
All right.
That happened.
Yeah.
Now if he handed in a cut that he didn't feel was finished, or if he handed in a cut that he wanted to get feedback on or whatever, that's not necessarily how the studio is going to look at it. But he handed in a cut because eventually the cut went to outside of his control, where they did not want his influence anymore on the cut.
Yeah.
Which is not uncommon in it, and it's also not indicative of a strained relationship between the studio and the director, but for the fact that the director might be offended because they are always so precious over their work. But from a studio's perspective, it's going to be completely business only. It's all about the money. It's all about their eyeballs. They're not holding grudges. They're not playing sides.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about any of that. Everybody in Hollywood is disposable to the studio. That's the truth. Everybody in Hollywood, all the way up to with the general exclusion of the C-level executives, is just disposable. Their only concern is for the money. Period. What happened?
We have one of those woolly aphids flying around here.
Is a woolly aphid?
Yeah. It's like this little.
It sounds like a prehistoric animal.
I know. It's like this. We
The woolly aphid.
we have a tree on this property that's like got a parasite problem with these woolly aphids, and they fly in the house, and they're so cute. They're like little fairies. They're like little fluff balls, but they fly around, and I've just been watching one fly across this camera like 3 times, and I'm wearing all black, so I'm sure people can see it.
So that's very funny. So the last bit of that
Yes,
is
sorry.
that so conversely, if they see a cut from Blake Lively that is not so far off, like if it's only slightly shorter, and I actually looked at the cuts I actually looked at the tests, and I did a breakdown of that on TikTok, I believe. But the breakdown on that, I don't have the numbers in front of me now. I remember them generally enough to say that what I saw in terms of the differences wasn't something that marketing couldn't overcome. So the preference would have certainly been on what they felt was going to be their most marketable cut. Additionally, if they found the gasp or anything objectionable, or if they felt like, and we know this to be true to a certain extent, at least in terms of Justin Baldoni's focus, that the DV was too intense, or that it was too focused, or that, any kind of deference to those aspects of the cut, then they would
like
change
in the middle
that.
of the scene he pulls up his shirt and like flexes his abs.
Right. Or, but it's funny you say that. That is funny, but like it could be something as silly as that, but anything that they think starts to fall outside of or into an area of question mark with regards to the response they'll get from their audience.
Right.
And they have a general cheat sheet of what they know works for the demos that they're going after, and they look for that in the script, at the script level. Which is another reason why, by the way, making significant changes like adding gasps or any kind of like racy content potentially could be very problematic for a studio. This is the difference between working with a studio and working independently and then handing in your cut. And even when you do that as an independent filmmaker like I am, when you get a distributor, you're like, oh yeah, congratulations, yeah, we're going to buy your movie. First fucking thing out of their mouth is, okay, so we're going to cut it.
Yeah, right.
Harvey Weinstein said that about Don's Plum. Everybody's going to cut it.
Yeah.
As soon as we started getting to the point where we were getting shopped by major distributors, we were back in the editing room dealing with notes. It's just part of the game, man.
I know. I just think
If you want to play.
it is interesting how Justin Baldoni was very happy to take Sony's money, but he didn't want to play by Sony's rules. And I just feel like that is probably the biggest problem that he had in his entire complaint. Was he had these creative conflicts with Sony that were entirely involved around the fact that he didn't want to have to answer to them.
I believe that if he's not narcissistic, he's so incredibly self-centered that he doesn't understand the scope of the world around him. He only sees things almost like solipsism, almost solipsistically.
Well, dude,
right?
Yeah, like that Sony executive reprimanding Jamie Heath saying, "You are not playing ball." And this is what they're dealing with, these people.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's so strange. Like they had an opportunity to make a really great impression on a major film studio that would have had them fucking working constantly.
Huge allies. Ally in Ryan Reynolds. Ally in Taylor Swift. Yeah. Ally in Sony Studios. So ally in Colleen Hoover with the sequel. I mean, you have everything. On the sequel, so I told you, like, he dropped the ball in the first place by not giving Blake Lively a more substantial creative role right from the beginning, when recognizing the opportunity for his other brand in Man Enough.
Right.
So that he could be man enough to elevate somebody who clearly had a talent and propensity for producing and for behind the scenes, authorship, as she likes to put it, and giving her the opportunity that other producers wouldn't. Even missing that opportunity in this situation because he couldn't see his way through this idea he had of himself. And that, I think, is, quite likely more of the problem that he had than anything else, is that he had an idea of himself in this role. He had an idea of what it meant to be the director of this. He had the idea of what it meant to play Ryle. He was like, this was quite possibly quite an elevation for him in many respects. And Blake Lively, I feel like, and stole the spotlight, as she should have, because it was her movie. But I really believe that was a part of this. It was happening in the movie, behind the scenes of the movie, right? Blake Lively stealing his thunder there. And I think that he felt that way as well when it came to the red carpet affair, which would be, it's Blake Lively's affair. A lot of people want to make a big deal of this basement shit. The reason why he was in the basement, or what would be ultimately a holding room, the reason why he was placed in a different holding room is because they were at odds. They didn't want to be on the same carpet together, or she didn't. And it ends with us movie premiere, like all other movie premieres, are a marketing device, and they're made only to make money for the studio and for the movie, while everybody gets to get all dolled up and look real pretty and all that other stuff. That's not the focus. That's not what they're there for. They're showing up in their goddamn work clothes is what they're doing. And in the end, the studio is going to put on that red carpet at the right time the person that they need to sell the most tickets. And that's going to be Blake Lively all day long in this movie. So he was merely put where he was supposed to be, given the fact that these guys weren't going to be arm in arm.
It's true, man. Like right now, there's all these, I don't know what festivals are going on. I think there's one in Europe. There's also one in...
Well, TIFF is the big one.
TIFF is the big one?
Yeah.
Isn't there one happening in Europe or that just happened?
They usually don't, the majors don't overlap. So they wouldn't be simultaneous.
Anyway,
but...
I'm seeing like a ton of stars doing the same sort of interviews that like Kirstie Flaw was conducting with Blake Lively, like where they're promoting, they got the poster next to them and they're all sitting there.
Festival
Absolutely none of those are involving anybody who's not an actor.
Yeah.
It's always the actors who are doing the promotion.
Yeah. Nobody's interested in what Dale Wheatley has to say. The directors get a press junket, and because the indie and the trade, all the trade rags from around the world, they'll all converge on the director and the producers for a little Q&A, little press junket. We had that at Berlin for Don's Plum, though I didn't attend for fear of being,
But anytime I've ever seen like red carpet interviews at a premiere, it's always
actors.
The stars.
Yeah, of course. It's always the act. And, Baldoni was that, but they're not going to walk in hand. They're not fucking married.
Right.
And obviously they didn't get along. And if they don't get along, they're not going to show up and do the red carpet together necessarily, particularly under these circumstances.
Let's see.
So just to put that into really easy, succinct language, Sony picked the cut that they thought was going to make the most money, and they didn't give a shit who did it. The only reason that Justin Baldoni wasn't a part of that cut was because they had given him his opportunities, and they were satisfied that he didn't need any more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And time is money. These guys don't...
I know.
These guys are fucking not cheap. Post-production is not cheap. And they're like, hey, bro, moving on.
A scientist said also Lively was worried it was taking so long for her to be able to do her contractual approval that she would be delayed starting on her next movie, which would stop her from promoting It Ends With Us.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm wondering where you got that.
Well, time conflicts are very common.
Yeah, dude.
Especially with somebody at her level and stature. Mm-hmm. And she does overlap. She's not like Leo. Leo will do a project every 2 years, every 3 years, or whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Kindly DiCaprio was so sweet. Your book was really good. Thank you so much. It was quite inspiring to me.
I'm so glad, because the one thing I wanted was the toughest task in writing this book was that I wanted the people who read this book to come away with inspiration, to feel inspired. But at the same time, I'm telling a story about a movie star completely destroyed my life and how I almost didn't survive it.
Oh.
So it's like a really difficult task. So it's a great achievement.
Kindly DiCaprio also said, also, you're wearing the Leo hat today. You just need to wear it much lower over your eyes.
Yeah, I got to do this.
So that nobody sees you get on Jeff Bezos's wedding.
This is the Leo hat that he wears when he's like talking about being an environmentalist, because he's too fucking ashamed to show his whole face. Environmentalist, my ass.
Okay, a scientist also says that snippet about how Blake Lively in her deposition said that no personal knowledge is absolutely purposefully misunderstood. She was asked about her personal knowledge, which has a specific legal meaning, what she was personally witness to.
Correct. If she began to speculate, she would have there would have been a stop by her attorney immediately.
Yeah, that's not the question.
No,
right.
Exactly. And
a scientist said the larger quote has her saying that other than what her lawyers have told her,
correct.
she knows.
Now I know this.
She
quote.
knows about Friedman's actions.
Correct.
There were 2 times. Being prepared to spend $100 million was at the premiere. Oh, okay, that's for another. That's true. Being prepared to spend $100 million to destroy Blake Lively was what Steve Sarowitz said at the premiere, and I just think that that's such an astounding detail.
What's astounding is that, you know what's astounding?
He's like, see our star right there walking the red carpet promoting our product so that we get rich. I'm gonna spend $100 million destroying her.
You know what's astounding? People calling Blake Lively's press junkets a disaster, calling the marketing of the film a disaster. Like, the movie made $350 million
right.
in the box office off of $26 million budget, despite the fact that these guys were actively sabotaging it. Like, how fucking powerful would this movie had been had Justin Baldoni had, any idea of how to actually be the fraud he was trying to perpetrate?
If he didn't actually try and kneecap his own movie, it might have been done even better. That's
what
true.
Fool does that?
Dude,
Kevin
what the fuck is his
Connolly,
problem, bro?
Scott Bloom.
Oh, yeah. You know a few, right?
Ethan Suplee.
Kindly DiCaprio wants to know, were you friends with Leo the time he almost died in a skydiving accident?
No.
Was it before or after?
After.
After. Did you hear about it?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It
Don't answer that question.
Super sad. I was like, hey, I don't wish him any harm, certainly. So, I didn't care about it because he survived. So I was like, well, what are we whining about?
Yeah, right. Oh, you were scared?
No.
No, I'm saying that's what he was whining about.
You were scared? Yeah, I guess you would be.
Everybody's
I think
scared
everybody who
skydiving.
jumps out of a fucking airplane is like, I almost died, because you almost died because you jumped out of an airplane. Anyway, I actually don't know how much I believe it anyway, but that's another story. That's another story.
Kindly DiCaprio is suggesting you make an audiobook.
Yes, I will.
Many of those clips, also an audiobook. Your book will go very viral.
Yeah, you're right. I got to do it.
You have to record little clips.
I was planning on doing that. I'm so overwhelmed with work. I'm not even writing right now. It's so depressing.
Oh, don't be depressed, baby.
I'm gonna be depressed. I'm gonna eat it.
You're just gonna eat your popcorn.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat it.
Okay.
Shannon said you're not even gonna look at you. Not even look at this. Shannon says it was the best, starting with Angela's face, asking you about Travis, then you turning to Jason Love, Eagles Love, Brother Love. It was perfect. Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, it was my best save ever.
Yeah, because it was a really good save.
It was my best save ever because I
caught you to completely
I could have been pegged as pre-dementia at that point, What
do you mean you don't know who Travis is?
I couldn't believe that I couldn't figure out who the fuck you guys were talking about, because we talk about Travis and Taylor enough on this live and on this channel. Anywho, well, I'm glad you liked it, Shannon. I hope the other guys liked it. I'm proud of those little cuts. I think they're really fun.
Oh, I know it. Me too. You're such a magician, bro.
Well, I wasn't really getting the hang of it, and then now I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. So hopefully we'll see some more content, and we'll be able to get some more folks out here, and so that we can, well, our chats are lively, aren't they? It was really nice having you here, Jennifer, and Scientist. I don't know if this was your first time with us, but if it was,
we've seen him before. Him, her, she,
we have?
they.
We have? Then it was good to see you again, and I apologize for not recognizing you, because I
don't
really
want to
enjoyed your
misgender
company
you
tonight.
either. You should tell us which you go by.
I think that...
You could just go by they.
I think that if you are coming by here and not being as active as you were tonight, then we've been deprived of your great input. And if there's anything that this live does, is it thrives on its community. I'm sure we're not the only ones, but you guys really are the drivers of everything that we're doing here. So we do appreciate you greatly. You ready to go pop some popcorn?
Yes.
You guys are fantastic. This is supposed to be a busy week, so I hope you'll join us every day, because we will be here from 7 to 9. Sports is getting hot. There's going to be playoffs, and there's going to be some football games. So I'll give you those announcements ahead of time, because I am a sports fan, and I will be bowing out whenever I have to for those. But otherwise, man, we're live Monday to Friday.
Yep.
Come back and see us. I hope you will. Good night, everyone.
Good night.